Formula One Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix. We have the regular two groups coming your way. Group 1, left to right, we have Liam Lawson, Ollie Behrman and Fernando Alonso. A very warm welcome
Got
to you.
free Apple TV.
Fernando, perhaps we could start with you. Not quite hometown hero, but home country hero. Look, it's been a tough start to the season for Aston Martin. Just how much satisfaction did the Monaco weekend and that point give you?
Well, hello everyone. Basically, I don't think that he made a huge difference on the weekend. We scored a point because different things happened on the race, and penalties and DNFs and things like that. But we cannot hide the truth that we were uncompetitive also in Monaco, and we didn't deserve the point probably, but in terms of pure pace. But yeah, I think this year is going to be difficult to score points for any team, as the four top teams are always, if everything goes normal, on the top 8 positions, and then only remains 9th and 10th. And yeah, Alpine could be easily 5th fastest car, and then, as I said, to grab any point, I think you need some help from the cars in front, and in Monaco it was extra help.
Fernando, for a guy with your record of success, how have the current issues affected your motivation and your belief in the Aston project?
Well, motivation, not big change, as I understand perfectly that how this sport works, and how everything is in Formula One, and you need to have the right package to perform, and you need to work around your team to get that package, in the best place possible, as soon as possible as well, when you are not leading the pack. And we see so many examples of drivers that they are out of the top 10, following year they are winning races, or vice versa, they are winning races, then are out of Q1. So, motivation is still there because I believe in myself, and I have full trust on what I'm able to do, and I feel that when I have with the same machinery of any other driver in the world, I never felt uncompetitive in Formula One or outside this paddock. I drive many different cars, and I felt the same way all my life, and I still feel the same way now. And then the trust in the team, obviously, is not ideal when you start a set of regulations on the back foot, because everything takes time, especially in our case. I think the power unit, we found very quickly that we were not up to speed, and it was a little bit immature, the project itself. So we realized quickly that we will need time to catch up, and we will need time to fix some of the issues. But in Formula One, you race every 2 weeks, and you need to deliver, performance every 2 weeks. And we understood quite quick, that we were not able to do that, and it will be a tough start of the season. But we are navigating through that tough start, and we have higher hopes for the second part of the year. But until then, every weekend is a little bit more or less the same story, on and on.
Look, lighter one to end with. World Cup starts today. How far will Spain get? Who's your biggest threat?
Well, I hope we get to the final. I think we are European champions, and we are very strong. So, hopefully we can get to the final. And the biggest threat, I don't know. I would say France, as they have, very good team as well and good players. But always you have surprises in the World Cups.
Right. Fernando, thank you very much for that. Ollie, if we could come to you now. Monaco seemed to be a case of what might have been for you. Had you had a clean run in quali and the race, how much pace did the car have?
No, I think we were definitely in the battle for points. Actually, I think, I think we were maybe on par with Liam sitting next to me, maybe, if it was a normal qualifying, let's say. Of course, it's never a normal qualifying in Monaco, but we got a bit unfortunate with the red flag, the timing of the red flag. After that, I tried really hard to of course improve my lap time, but my tires were just not in the temperature window. And you know, around Monaco, when you can't do anything if you have no grip, and I did my very best, but it just missed out by a tenth or so. After that, the race was the race. You know, we saw some stuff happening, but unfortunately I had an issue of my own on the brakes, and yeah, we had to retire the car. But I think in case of a clean quali, I would have liked to think we could have been fighting with the V carbs, maybe Alpine as well. Actually, we were quite competitive in Monaco, so yeah, I was looking forward to that. But at the end, after a bad quali, you can't really come back at all.
Do you think that potential you just talked about will translate here in Barcelona?
I hope so. I think these last 2 weekends, you know, we've bought this upgrade package to the car in Canada. Honestly, it's been really tough to optimize and you know, get performance out of it. We managed to salvage a point in Canada, but only because of a lot of cars retiring. And then Monaco was tough as well for other reasons. You know, that both of those circuits are very bumpy. You have to run the car in a very different way, let's say, to the rest of the year. So hopefully we're going to come here. It's a more, you know, favorable track for us, and hopefully we can optimize the package that we have. But actually Friday we're going to have to be learning a lot about this car, because, you know, we've come from a sprint weekend, and then Monaco, it's 2 very unique weekends on very unique tracks. So this is really a chance to learn about what we have.
Okay, thank you for that. Quick World Cup question. How far will England go? Can they bring it home? And who's the biggest threat?
Oh, you're testing me now. I'm not the best in football knowledge, but of course I have high hopes for my country. I hope that they can win, but yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, to be honest, the only football tournaments I'm watching or the only football I'm watching in general is the World Cup and the Euros. So it's been a while since I watched a football match. I'm excited to see, and of course wish England all the best.
Thank you for that. And Liam, let's come to you now. What a race for you and the team in Monaco. How did your emotions after it compare to the P5 in Baku last year?
Yeah, it's very, very different, honestly. Monaco is very special, and I think especially where we started the weekends, we weren't actually very competitive, and we changed so much on the weekends. So, and then the Sunday was just an emotional roller coaster. I didn't think I was going to race. I got to the garage and the car was in pieces. We had an issue, and the team did an amazing job to put it together. And I got out, did 1 lap to the grid basically, so we didn't really get to feel balance or anything like that. But yeah, we survived, which at the moment I think is a bit of, you know, what's been working for us at the moment. Obviously we've got to try and keep that consistency, but we've been reasonably competitive, but just in the right place, and when people have had issues, we've been able to capitalize on it, and I think that's really what happened in Monaco, so it was cool.
You've had a great start to the season. How much of that is down to the car, and do you feel you've taken a step forward as a driver this year?
I mean, yeah, I think the cars are very interesting this year. We're all obviously still getting used to them, learning. The development is obviously massive this year. We're all finding sort of big things most weekends, so we're all chasing that. And I think on a personal level, probably, I think we're always evolving and learning, so the more experience I have, I'm going to get better. And I think compared to last year, I would say I'm in a better place. I think there's been a bit more consistency this year, and that's been helping.
Okay, bit of World Cup chat. New Zealand in Group G. How far will you get?
Honestly, I probably know the least about football in this room, honestly. I'm just supporting Tim Payne. That's really, yeah, that's really all I can say.
All right, well, guys, thank you for that. Let's open this to the floor. Let's start with the broadcasters. Who's first, please?
Harry Benjamin, Sky Sports F1. Question for Fernando. Fernando, when you first came on the scene, you were marked out as one of the immediate greats, and it only took you a couple of years before you were fighting for world championships and sealing those titles. Now we're seeing Kimi Antonelli came into the start this year with no wins and has just done 5 on the bounce. What do you make of his achievements, and can you give us an insight into the pressure that young drivers deal with at a young age and winning in Formula One?
Well, I think, first, I think we are in a different era of F1 where I think that thanks to the technology we are a bit more aware of, the technicalities of the car. We have the simulators, we have different tools that help a little bit our arrival into F1. And I think he has, an incredible talent. Probably most noticeable time for him was in karting. I think in the junior formulas, you can argue that he was up and down in terms of results, and some of the drivers of his generation, they were able to stay in front of him with same cars, even one next to me. And now you have a car that is dominating, and you are adapting, to that car, and you are winning races without making any mistake. With, as you said, feeling the pressure of leading the championship and leading a race, which is obviously a very good achievement. But yeah, this is Formula One, and you need to perform at the highest level always. And if you have the opportunity, as he has this year, with a winning car, and he's able to cope with the pressure and achieve the title, obviously it's an incredible thing for him, and happy for him.
Thanks, Fernando. Next one.
Hola, Fernando. Mariana Baker de TV Globo. At this time, usually for especially us Latin people, during the World Cup is a time to provoke, also to tease each other, with how's your team, how's my team, what we are going to expect and everything. We've been here for a while. Even when Spain was the champion, I was here also covering, and I saw all of you. Who's the best guy for you to provoke on the grid, or was at that time, and who's the one understands best on this subject of soccer and football?
Football. Not many people understand in this paddock.
Is there any driver that you...
Used to be Fisichella and some of the Italians, but now Italy is not in the World Cup for 3 decades. So it's, I would say Antonelli, but maybe Antonelli will be older when Italy comes back to the World Cup.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, Craig.
Yeah, Craig Slater, Sky Sports. A question for Liam, actually. Sorry, Liam. We haven't heard anything official yet, but a duo is on the horizon, the opportunity for teams to improve their power units if they're below the leading power unit. Do you think you have the best power unit in F1 at the moment, and would you be concerned if your rivals were able to improve theirs, and you not?
Yeah. I think we have a good power unit, for sure. I think we've done I think maybe what people expected, even maybe what we expected at the start of the year, coming in with a brand new, a brand new power unit, new team to build that. And I think, IBBT's done an incredible job, and we have a very competitive power unit. It's hard to know who's got the actual best. Everybody's has different levels of efficiency with downforce and stuff like this, and even within teams you see differences sometimes on race weekends in straight line performance and stuff. So I don't know. I don't personally know if we actually have the best, but I just know it's very good. But I think obviously other teams also have very good power units.
Mara San Giorgio, Sky Sport F1 Italy. A question to Holly. We were talking about Kimi. Before, you were one of his teammates in the past. Did he surprise you this year, or did you expect him to be so strong?
Yeah, of course. I've raced with Kimi. We raced in Formula 4, Formula 2 as well. Teammates in F2, and we had a great year together. Honestly, I mean, of course, we're kind of going through the same journey of learning and improving every time we're in the car, particularly last year. And you saw that last year, he struggled at times, and I think that's just part of the learning process. But it's clear that he's done a step this year and performing at a really high level. And honestly, it's really nice to see, because I know that I've raced with him, we've raced together, and I know how he drives, and seeing him perform on that level is quite, it gives me the confidence that I can do that one day as well when I get the opportunity. So it's nice to see, and I hope to have the chance one day as well.
Thanks, Ollie. Next.
Hello, question for Fernando and Georgia Anidas from Montana TV Greece. You talked about an upgrade package that will change the car dramatically. Does this mean that we'll see you fighting in the midfield or upper up the grid during the season, or it's a package that it works towards 2027?
Well, both. It works into 2027 because definitely we need to improve our situation. But no, I think our hopes is that the second part of the year will be a more competitive one, and we can start fighting in the midfield. Yes, that's the aim.
Thanks. Next.
Hola, Fernando. No sé si hablar en español o preguntarte en inglés directamente.
Inglés, por favor.
I'd like to ask, it doesn't matter if things go well or not. There's always so many fans here in Barcelona cheering up for you. And on Saturday, you will have all the people cheering up. I don't know if you had a message for them and to thank, after all these years, how much they have cheered for you.
Sure. It's going to be a special weekend. Probably my last Barcelona race in Formula One. So, yeah, I want to say thanks to everyone. I will try to enjoy the weekend. I will not be competitive, and I will, not be too long in the car in qualifying and in the race. Hopefully, yes, but not at the pace that we all want. But I want everyone to still improve, enjoy the weekend, and has been always a celebration when they come to Barcelona, and people, for I think this is my 23rd Spanish Grand Prix, and all of them, they've been magical, and this last has to be magical as well.
Santi Torres for Catalan Television. You've been racing here, you said, 23rd Grand Prix here in Barcelona, but 27 years, which is your best memory that you have here in this circuit? Which has been the most special win, and obviously the most special race?
Well, they are linked together. Normally, when you win, it becomes the special one. But I would say 2006, because it was huge expectations for us after winning the championship in 2005 and being in pole position. Everyone expected us to win on Sunday. I think I will remember that one as a number one memory, and many things that happened on this weekend. My first single-seater test, I think that was back in 1994. My first Renault test, my first Benetton test was here as well. And then, few things, here and there, and moments that I will remember always. A lap with Juan Carlos the King in the Renault Megane, which in 10.3 I remember he was maybe not that comfortable in the car, and I didn't realize that the King was in the passenger seat. These kind of things, that a lot of stories happen on this circuit. So a special place.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Harry Benjamin, Sky Sports F1. Question for Liam. Liam, I'm in the middle. Hi. It's behind the camera, sorry. You've had a great season so far this year. You've scored in 5 of the first 6 rounds, sprint and Grand Prix various. It feels like it's really clicking now for you after a couple of sort of turbulent seasons. What do you put that down to, and do you feel like you can put your name in the hat for a top drive again?
I think, as you always learn, you always get better. So for sure, I'm in a better place than I've ever been in Formula One. But I think also the last couple of years, the way I came into Formula One was quite unique as well. At the back end of both seasons of 23 and 24, and so last year was, I guess, first full season, but obviously started very rocky. I think obviously this year had a proper pre-season. And with new cars, obviously we're all working on learning them, and I just think we've done a good job, and I've learned a lot from the last couple of years as well, and feel like I've sort of been able to put that to use this year, I mean, I know it's motorsport, obviously a bad weekend's eventually going to come, and we all have that, but at the moment it's been good. We've had good momentum, and I think as a team we've done a very, very good job, and I'm looking forward to trying to continue that. I don't think it's anything specific other than just experience, honestly.
Thank you. Let's bring in the written media now as well. Name and publication, please.
Jesús Alceiro, Diarios. Question to Fernando. When you say probably your last Barcelona race, is there any slight chance you could be here in 2 years' time in the next one, or what do you have in mind when you think about the future? In case you wanted to stay, is it only a 1 year thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything in mind, and after summer I will take the decision to continue or not. But Barcelona obviously is not happening next year, so if I don't know, what I will do next year, it's nearly impossible to be sure that what I will do in 2 years' time. But I would say, I consider every race that I go this year that potentially could be my last time in Australia, my last time in China, my last time in Monaco. And here in Barcelona, there is a little bit more of that chance, as it's not happening next year as well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Brian from the Hulst Racing News 365. Question to all three. What's your view on the rule changes for next year and 2028 regarding the PU split? Thank you.
Fernando, can we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, said in last few races as well. Obviously now there is a confirmation on the rules, but yeah, let's see. I think we need to give time, and hopefully things get better, and the fans, they enjoy it a bit more, and drivers, they we are a little bit happier with the car. But at the end of the day, these power units, they have this DNA, and it will be difficult to change. You can make a small tweak on the rules, but it will always reward to go slower in the corners to have more energy on the straights, and that's as I said, the DNA of the rules. And by race 7 of this year or whatever, that we need to change the rules for next year and potentially for 2028. It tells you that it was something wrong from the beginning.
I think the rule changes are in the right direction. It's moving more towards consistency and being able to drive how we've all grown up driving, which is driving on instinct and not thinking really about the knock-on effect of, if you drive this corner differently to the way you did the lap before, is it going to have a positive effect or a negative effect? That's not ideal. We're quite limited on gear usage. All of these things you have to be really strict on. So there's really not a lot of opportunity to invent. And I think already giving a bit more work to the ICE and a bit less to the US is a step in the right direction, even if it's a phased step. I think it's more towards what we want. Maybe not all the way where we want, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with what they both said. I think it's we just want to drive cars that we can drive flat out and not have to think about anything else. And I think that's it's a step in the right direction to that. But I think, as Fernando said, I think the baseline's always going to be there a little bit, and I think I don't know if we'll ever be able to fully avoid that with these power units.
Okay, thanks. Next.
I'm Bas from the Dutch F1 magazine. Question for Fernando. We all know the rivalry between Barcelona and Madrid in football. Now it's here in F1, of course, as well. You're the ambassador for this Grand Prix, Carlos for Madrid. How's the rivalry between you guys on this aspect?
No, thanks God, this is not the same as football, and we are enjoying. We feel privileged to have 2 Grand Prix in our country, and both of us, we are extremely lucky about this situation, and I think Barcelona, Madrid, also they are very different between them, so there is not any problem on that. Barcelona is at the end of the day our home Grand Prix for everybody in Spain, because we, as I said, in 1994 I did my first single test here, single-seater test, and we test a lot of things here. When there is an event or a sponsor or a hot laps, we come to Barcelona. So there is a circuit that we know very well, and we have the MotoGP, and we have different activities around Barcelona. It's a 365-day activity. Madrid is more a one-off event, and different approach, and the new approach that Formula One is taking, with races like Baku or Singapore or Miami, with different people is coming to enjoy the race and to enjoy the weekend and to have fun, in Madrid, and having a different experience, and both of them are complementary, and they are both I think good for the Spanish fans and for the country.
Thank you. Next.
Hello. Good afternoon. Silvia Arias, Parabrisas, Argentina. Fernando, mentally, how hard is for you to think about that maybe this is your last year, as you said, my last race, maybe that one, the next one? Or is it hard, or is it helping a lot to have already a family with your son right now?
No, I mean, it's not hard. I mean, for me, the hardest thing is not to win races and not to be competitive. If it's the last or not the last, it's not affecting too much. I'm in peace with my career and with my life. And if anything comes now, welcome. If it doesn't come, it will not change my my feeling. I achieved a lot more than I ever dreamt. When I was a kid, or I was here, as we said again, my first test here, or my go-kart experience when I was racing in Spain, I never dreamt to be Formula One driver, and then race for, the best teams in the paddock and stay for, a very long time. So everything is a plus, and it is a plus now. I'm not as competitive as, we all want to be in the team now, and that's probably the biggest pain that we go through every weekend. But, in terms of, personal feeling it's not too hard, or it's not anything.
Thank you. Next.
Diletta Colombo Automoto, a question for Fernando. If you could choose the architecture of the power unit, what would you opt for?
Probably not hybrid, so fully combustion engine with sustainable fuels. And if you have to have anything on the electrical side, something like a small boost that can be used for overtaking. So for, I don't know, it was like a generation of cars that we have 6 seconds of 150 horsepower back in 2010 to 2013 or whatever, and those 6 seconds per lap you were using those strategically in different moments in place in the race, but also in qualifying. Depends of your strengths and weaknesses of your car and things like that. So maybe maximum that kind of electrification.
How many cylinders?
As many as you wish.
All right, guys, we're out of time. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you very much for that. A very warm welcome back to the drivers' press conference here in Barcelona. Left to right, we have Franco Colapinto, Kimi Antonelli and Carlos Sainz. Welcome, guys. Carlos, one of two home Grand Prix for you this year. Now, it was a frustrating end to your race in Monaco, but given the rate of improvement we've seen with this car this year, what can your fans expect here in Barcelona?
Yeah, I think in Monaco we had a very solid weekend, but unfortunately we didn't manage to bring the points home after that incident. 8-9 laps to go, but you know, it's a P9 or a P10. I've realized that when I go to sleep on a Monday, I don't care that much about a P9 or a P10 because in the end what I'm here for is for podiums, wins, top fives, and that's my ultimate target. So if there's going to be any racing incidents that take away the P9, is that day I'm going to be frustrated, but then I can get over it very quickly. So Barcelona, I think it's clear it's going to be more frustrating weekend for us. I think Williams is known for having a bit of a weak track here in Barcelona. I think this year's car shouldn't be particularly good for here, but at the same time it's a great opportunity for us as a team to understand why and see where our weakness lie on. So I think we're going to put everything we have to understand that and to try and make progress. Having said that, I'll try and score points.
You missed the shakedown back in February here in Barcelona. Is that a big disadvantage?
For me, no. I know this place pretty well by now. Many years coming to Barcelona, so I don't think I will miss doing the shakedown, but maybe for the engineers having a first look at how the energy will work through the lap and how to launch the lap, how to do the long runs. For sure we will be say half a step behind, because it's true that a lot has changed since January, even on the Mercedes power unit, so we will see. I think not ideal, but it's not the end of the world.
Okay, just end with some World Cup chat. How far is Spain going to get? Who's your biggest threat?
Well, I hope Spain wins the World Cup. I think we have a very strong team. I think we proved it in the Euros a few years ago, so it's time to win the World Cup again, and if not, do the best we can. But rivals, I don't know. I haven't been following football much this year, so I cannot tell you who do you think is our threats.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Kimi, can we come to you now? Have you found...
Don't ask me about World Cup, by the way.
Yeah. Well, go on then. Who do you think will win, even if it can't be Italy?
Well, definitely cannot be us. Yeah, I don't know. Too many strong teams, but obviously I'm a big fan of Messi since the time he was playing in Barcelona. So yeah, but I think it's going to be a very close fight. You know, Argentina is very strong, Spain very strong, England is very strong, Germany as well. Yeah, let's see. Cannot give you really an answer.
All right. No, look, let's.
I wish it was Italy though, but
yeah. Look, let's take it back to Monaco quickly. First of all, have you found your towel yet?
No, still looking for it.
Look, and can we talk about the celebrations? What was it like to jump into the harbour? How was the party at the palace?
Well, I don't want to know what it was in the water, first of all, in the harbour, but it was enjoyable, very fresh, refreshing after a hot race. And it was good, you know, it was a good moment with the whole team. It was a good moment to share and to witness as well. And I think it's one of those moments that you remember, you will remember forever. And I think also seeing the team so happy and involved really made me happy as well. So definitely it was very cool. But of course, Monaco is in the past now, and obviously we have Barcelona this weekend. We'll try to repeat ourselves, even though it's not gonna be easy. And then about the party at Gala was cool. I mean, I'm not used to do these kind of things, but it was a really cool experience, and definitely wouldn't be bad to be back next year as well.
Look, just talk a little bit more about Barcelona and your prospects for this weekend. Do you think Mercedes come here with the best package for Barcelona?
I think first of all, it's going to be an interesting weekend for us because we will see how the package that we brought in Canada, how it will work. I think we couldn't really see, or we couldn't see the full potential or how much it's actually giving us because Canada was quite unique conditions with the temperature being so cold. And obviously Monaco again is another unique track, so obviously Barcelona is a more standard track, and we'll see better how the package works and how much it's actually giving us in terms of lap time. However, I think competitors are still fairly close. I mean, Red Bull was very strong in Monaco. Ferrari has brought some new bits this weekend, so for sure they're going to be up there, and then also McLaren. I think McLaren is going to be very strong as well because it's a high dead track, quite hot, and Miami was kind of similar and they were very strong as well. So I think it's not going to be straightforward, but we're ready to do our best.
Thank you for that. And Franco, let's come to you. Kimi's a Messi fan. Just give us your thoughts on Argentina's chances in the World Cup.
I think I beat him. I'm not a Messi fan, but we might have a little bit of a tie. No, I think Argentina is always a great team, and you know, in the tricky moments or in the pressure moments, they always play better, and they're really good at that. So I'm not gonna say we're gonna win because it's very, very bad luck, but yeah, hopefully we can have a good World Cup and yeah, enjoy. Of course, 22 was a great World Cup. We enjoyed a lot in Argentina. They made us very, very happy, and yeah, hopefully it's another good World Cup this one.
And Franco, tell us about your season now. It feels like you've taken a big step forward this year, especially since Miami. What's changed for you?
I think a few things, but just generally feeling more comfortable in the car and feeling more together, a bit more connected, and it's. I think it all went in the right direction after that little break before Miami, and yeah, just I think we did the right steps and we find some things that really helped to put me in a better place, and yeah, just feeling a bit more connected with the car that really helps here this year with the energy. There is many factors that play a big part in the performance, and I think we are being more consistent and just in a better place since a little break.
Are you happier in the 26 regulation cars than you were the ground effect cars of last year?
I think in the Alpine car I felt better this season than the previous one, yeah.
All right. Franco, thank you very much for that. Let's now open this to the floor. We'll start with the broadcasters. Who's first, please?
Harry Benjamin, Sky Sports F1. Question to Kimi. Kimi, Fernando was just talking about what it's like to arrive in Formula One quite young and then start winning and challenging for championships only after a season or two in the sports. How are you finding that pressure, that expectation, and the step up from your rookie season to this year? What's changed to make that happen?
Well, a lot has changed. I think the year of experience itself has been playing a massive role. Just making your own experiences and understanding what's good and what's not good for you during the weekend and outside the weekend. Bless you, by the way. So definitely it's just the experience, being able to also coming back into the weekend and having done it the year before plays already a massive difference because you know better the track evolution during the session. You know better how the weekend is structured as well. So you're also able to balance your energies in a better way, and so also when you go in the car, you feel also better in terms of energies. But as well, also you become more aware of your potential. Also, you get to know even better the team. So the bond just gets stronger and stronger with the team, and so it's all little things that at the end of the day they play a massive role. And And then about championship, we are not really worrying about it. Of course, I know was the opportunity, the opportunity that is on the table. And of course, I want to make the best out of it and trying to maximize it. But at the same time, I don't want to drive or race thinking about that. I just want to try to really focus on the process, on what I have to do, and trying to enjoy as much as possible as well, the driving, the weekend, and just trying to drive as fast as possible, and then we'll see where we end up at the end of the year.
Thanks for that. Next, please.
Kimi, Rui Chagas for DAZN Portugal. Well, first of all, I'm sad to hear that you don't put Portugal on the top teams, but anyway.
There are so many. It's like I just named few, but for sure there are a lot more. I didn't name France as well, so yeah.
Well, fair enough. Well, congratulations first of all for yet another win at Monaco. Continuing a bit of this question and the conversation. Last year, I asked you if you ever doubt about yourself, and you were like really hard on yourself, saying that you did have questions at a certain point. Do you still have questions about your potential?
Not really, to be fair. I mean, last year was definitely a big feature. Like I would doubt a lot about myself, especially during that period, that difficult period in Europe. But this year, obviously, has been a different story. Obviously, also you mature a lot after 1 year of Formula One, not only as a driver but also as a person. And you got, I think, also last year during the difficult period, I got to know myself better. So definitely was considering how bad it was in the moment. Actually, I'm very grateful that it happened, because it made me grow a lot, and it taught me a lot about myself as well. And I think, no, this year so far I haven't been questioning or doubting myself. However, there are questions that still need to be answered on my side, on how much further I can go in a short period of time, how much I can push myself even further, and how can I grow, how much more I can grow, and how big is the potential. So there's still many questions that needs to be answered, and I know it will still take a bit of time.
Thank you. Next, Craig.
Craig Slater, Sky Sports F1. Question for Franco and maybe for Carlos as well. We hear that the stewards have admitted Alpine's protest about Pierre Gasly's penalty in the Grand Prix. What would it mean to the team if they ultimately uphold it and he were to get that podium back? You obviously had a penalty in the race as well. Just for Carlos, from a GPDA perspective, can you summarise any discussions that took place in advance of the Grand Prix about maybe some confusion about the potential, how the pit lane speed was being monitored?
Honestly, on the GPDA, there hasn't been a discussion about that yet, but I expect Friday night, is that tomorrow evening, to probably be featured as part of the conversation. I think it's very difficult for me to say exactly what happened, because it didn't happen to me and to us, so I haven't looked into the detail of it, but I think there is some tracks where you can shortcut a bit the pit entry, and it's allowed, or BFI is happy to do that, and maybe there's other tracks where it wasn't expected and it happened, you go over the speed limit. But I think Franco, being part of what happened, maybe he can explain better.
With the team and with Alpine and FIA, and of course we are waiting for the decision, but yeah, looking forward to it, of course. I think in Monaco we could cut a little bit the left kink of the pit entry, and it also, our right, we were not going off the track, so we could definitely do it, and looks like due to a matter of distance we looked overspeeding, but we were not, so yeah, hopefully they can review it and give us some feedback soon.
Okay, thanks. Next.
Hello, question for Kimi. Georgia Anides from Montana TV Greece. been 2 years now since we last spoke. Back then, you were winning races in F2. Could you even dream back then that you would be leading the F1 World Championship in just 2 years' time, and now competing for the title?
Of course not. I think I would have put a signature if you would have told me even at the start of the year. But of course, you know, back then in F2, obviously the goal was to get into Formula One, and then obviously also how the races go, how is the performance, then obviously expectations, they change. The objective changes. I think definitely if you would have told me 2 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. But obviously I'm very happy I'm in this position right now. I'm very happy and glad for the opportunity that were given to me, and also for the incredible work that the team is doing. You know, the car that this team has given us so far this year has been incredible, and it's allowing us to fight for wins, and so far for the championship. So definitely is a very good moment to be in, but of course it's really important not to get carried away with it from it, and just trying to stay focused, stay grounded, and just focusing on the ultimate goal and try to deliver every races.
Mara San Giorgio, Sky Sport Italy, a question to Kimi. Nothing is official yet, but as a team, will you be surprised if you could get benefit from Edo too?
Yeah, I mean, we. To be fair, I'm not really into. Well, I don't really know the decision behind and everything because obviously I'm not into this. So it would be better to ask to the team and FIA how this was assigned, on what base. But for sure we, you know, at least on my side I was surprised because I think our PU is very strong. But for sure, you know, there were reasons behind it, and of course the team now will need to start working on trying to see and find where, you know, we can gain even more performance. So it's a process that it's not gonna be short term. It's gonna be a long term process, because still to find more performance on the engine takes time. So definitely, you know, the team has done an incredible job already with PU, and I'm sure they will put their maximum effort to try and extract even more performance now that we get this benefit.
Thank you.
Hi, Kimi. Mariana Becker from TV Global. Just to remind you, there is an Italian coach coaching Brazil team. So just to remind you before my question. Kimi, we saw you talking to your father right after the race, saying, "Did you realize how fast we were?" And he said, "You were fast, you were fast." And we saw sometimes like Toto coming on the radio saying, calm down and everything. You're kind of getting into your place as someone who's achieving a lot. Who guides you through this path, like to be grounded, as you said, or to find the right way to go through this?
Well, I mean, first of all, my family, for sure. My dad is like a big rock for me because I know I can rely on him in any situations, and also of course together with my mom. But they're the two persons that they know me the best. So for sure, having them is great, because they always been guiding me in the right direction, especially when they were seeing that I was maybe losing a little bit the path. And then of course the team, I've been with the team, with the junior team, since 2018. Then obviously I stepped up with the senior team in last year, but of course also them, you know, Bono, Toto, who I know them very well by now, but the whole team in general has been really supportive. They've been really supporting me in the goods and in the bad, and then also they've been guiding me through this journey so far, and it's been very enjoyable.
Thank you. Let's bring in the written media now. Name and publication, please.
Graham Harris, Motorsport Monday. Question for Carlos. You've driven the new Madrid track in a road car. What are your initial impressions? Do you think they've listened to drivers and made it a track where you can do passing, or is it another show track in a city centre?
Honestly, I was positively surprised by it. I think especially they've done a really good job with Sector 2, and the fact that they've managed to open up Sector 2 to be more of a permanent style track with a lot of flowing corners and, of course, the big banked, almost 180-degree flat out that I think it would be flat out corner. So I think it's important for Formula One track to have character, and I think Madrid has managed to have something out of the ordinary, extraordinary, like that corner and that section of the track. Then if it produces good racing or not is I think it's too early to say, but it has two pretty long straights and a very fast-flowing section. So in theory, it should produce overtaking, but we need to go racing and we need to analyze it. And then I think it's the kind of place and track where I think Madrid would be very happy to, if they can improve something in the future, they will change or improve towards the future, which is the philosophy of the city and the philosophy of the project.
Thank you for that. Next.
Hello, Carlos. Welcome to Barcelona. Jaime Vigara from the Best F1. What is your goal this weekend? Do you think you can score points in Barcelona?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we need to do everything perfect, and they're going to be expensive because it's going to take a lot of effort to get them. I think Canada, Miami, and Monaco are tracks that suit our car a bit more than what Barcelona does, but we are improving every single weekend, and if we manage to improve another little bit here, then hopefully we can be in the hunt for points, but it will not be easy, but we will try.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, Silvia Arias, Parabrisas. Franco, which are right now the difference between your car and Pierre's car in terms of new parts, new floor, whatever?
Nothing.
Nothing? Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Thank you. Luke McLaughlin from The Guardian. Kimi, people may say that you feel pressure now, but it seems like you are enjoying the pressure if you do feel it. So it's like a much better pressure than being at the back of the grid and scoring no points in a bad car.
Yeah, I mean, I said before, I feel, first of all, very lucky to be in the position I am. Of course, it requires a lot of effort and commitment, and of course, job's not done. So we gotta keep pushing. But of course, one thing I said to myself at the start of the year is trying to as well enjoy as much as possible all the weekends, all the time I go in the car, because I feel like also when I do so, I'm able to extract and maximize as well my performance, and so it's been helpful factor. Also helped me to drive a bit more relaxed and not as tense as I was last year. So that's definitely playing a big factor. And again, just racing without worrying about anything else other than just trying to maximize the performance on track. It's also it's playing a big factor. Just focusing on what I have to do without worrying about anything else.
Thank you, Kimi.
Hi, Brian van Entem, GP fans. Question to Kimi as well, talking about pressure. With all your good results and the absence of the Italian football team, are you feeling you're getting more and more of a home country hero, like, for example, Yannick Sinner in tennis?
Well, I don't know exactly because I haven't come back into Italy in a while, but I know from what I heard, expectations are getting quite high, and I know also by being Italian how we can get very excited about things But of course, it's great to see so much support, and it's just growing and growing. And is also, if you're able to embrace it, is an extra. I feel like so. It's been great, and hopefully, it's just gonna keep growing.
Thank you. Another one, yep.
Carlos Miquel, Diario Marca. Question for Kimi and for the other guys, Carlos and Colapinto. Kimi, I read these days and I see some videos that you are the new Senna. Yes. You think it's extra pressure receive this type of words? And for Franco and Carlos, if anybody can beat Kimi for this championship with this advantage he has.
Wow, what a strong question. No, I haven't read about that, and to be fair, I don't really also like the comparison because I don't feel like I should be compared to someone who has made the history of the sport, and I haven't done not even a single bit of what he's being able to achieve, so I don't feel like it's very fair. And also, myself, I don't really like it because I said before, for all these reasons. And yes, he's my idol, he's someone I get inspired, but yeah, I just feel like it's not really fair to get compared to him, especially at this stage of my career, because it's just the beginning and there's still so much to achieve, so much to do, and so much to improve. And I feel like I'm still very far from his level. So just, yeah, that's my answer.
Carlos, the championship for Kimi?
Well, I don't think we even know how many races are left, because of the calendar also. So it's difficult to put a number to it of how much is Kimi to win or to lose. But I think he's been driving great. I think he's done an incredible year so far. I think he's maximizing his car and his chances of winning races. I think the closer it gets to the championship, normally the pressure also gets higher and higher, as we saw last year with Oscar and Lando. The closer you get to that crunch point when you see the championship is yours or not, I think that's when it gets real, and I back 100% Kimi that he can do it. So I don't know, it's going to be super exciting to see. I think it's going to be a great championship, and I think so far if he keeps driving like he's driving, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to beat him.
Yeah, no, I think if he keeps driving like this, it will be tough for anyone. But no, he's doing a great job, and yeah, it's been very impressive to see last few races how he recovered as well from tricky moments. It's some difficult starts to weekends, and he recovered very well and from quite an impressive gap from the Ferraris and all that in Monaco. And yeah, I think if of course there is a long championship to go and a lot of things can happen, but it's a big gap for only being the start of the year.
Okay, thank you. Let's do one more.
This is Bas from the Dutch F1 magazine. Question for Kimi. You got quite some advices from Lewis and from Max. Do they also tell you how to beat Russell?
No, we haven't talked specifically about that. Well, Max, his latest advice was to wait for the red light to go off and wait 1 second. Then, unfortunately, yeah, he had the P issue, but yeah, that was his latest advice, which obviously was a joke. But no, we haven't talked specifically about that. We talk about a lot of stuff, but not so much about that. He just said, yeah, to keep doing what I'm doing, keep enjoying, keep being myself, and then the result will come. So yeah, it's been obviously, I think many drivers, but obviously also, as we're talking specifically about Max and Lewis, them being very kind as well since I've joined the sport, and they seem, to be very supportive as well. So of course it's great to see. It's great to win it on my side. But of course, yeah, they also don't want to. I mean, we're still competitor at the end of the day, so you still don't want to give too many advices. But yeah, it's been fun, the relationship with them.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, for the second Sunday in a row. It is race day, the 51st Formula One World Championship Spanish Grand Prix and the 31st to take place here in Barcelona. It's Catalonia, population 7.5 million people, and we're about 777 miles by road from Portimao. The circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia donated over 1,520 kilograms of unused food to local charities after pre-season testing in 2020. We didn't test here for this season. Will that make a difference to today's race? It's the first time since 2014 the F1 teams used this circuit without conducting any pre-season testing here. So hopes are high then that could make a bit of a difference to a circuit where, if you're on the front row, it counts a lot. 27 of the previous 30 races here have been won from that front row. Can any driver use one of the two DRS zones to promote themselves a little higher up the order? There are 16 corners, 7 to the left and 9 to the right, and turn 1, the right-hand turn, saw Lewis Hamilton approaching Sebastian Vettel at a rate of knots in 2017. Hamilton forced into the runoff area. Vettel just held on to the lead, but not for long. Turn 4, holding off Alex Albon. This is Carlos Sainz in the McLaren then. Albon trying to go the long way round that corner and just missing out on an overtaking opportunity. And this is turn 8, Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg back in 2012. Vettel on his way to finishing 6th in that race, one of 12 consecutive points finishes here in Barcelona for the 4-time champion. The tyre compounds, the C1 is the hard. The teams say that is not a good race tyre for today. The C2, the medium, and the C3, the soft. The top 10 all start on the softs. How long will they last? So the grid then for the Spanish Grand Prix in 2021, it's Lewis Hamilton, a 6th pole at this circuit, is 74th for Mercedes, his 100th overall. Max Verstappen puts a Red Bull on the front row for the first time here since 2011. Only one man's won from 3rd on the grid here, that was Michael Schumacher back in 96. Bottas starts 3rd alongside Charles Leclerc from Ferrari. His teammate Carlos Sainz is 6th, Esteban Ocon in between the two Scuderia cars. Daniel Ricciardo starts 7th as he out-qualifies Lando Norris once more. Perez settles for 8th. Norris, for the first time this season, doesn't start 7th, and he's got Fernando Alonso for company on row 5. It's Lance Stroll who starts 11th alongside Pierre Gasly, both missing out on the top 10. Gasly for the first time this season. Sebastian Vettel is 13th, and Antonio Giovinazzi getting out of Q1 for the first time ever here is alongside him. George Russell made it into Q2 as well, alongside Yuki Tsunoda. Kimi Raikkonen comes next, alongside Mick Schumacher. First time a Haas car has outpaced a non-Haas car in 2021. Nicholas Latifi is the Williams driver, sandwiched in between the two Haas cars. Mazepin picked up a 3-place penalty, but he was the slowest in qualifying. It made no difference, but what a difference a year could make. Martin Brundle at the sharp end of the grid. Hamilton might be on pole, but that Mercedes pace advantage seems to have disappeared.
Without doubt, all drivers start on the soft tyres apart from one, which is Kimi Raikkonen on the medium tyres. That's unusual to see such continuity down the grid, but as you said, it's 10 years since Red Bull have started this Grand Prix on the front row of the grid, and we don't have a Noah's Ark grid either. Normally they line up here very much 2 by 2. It's such a chassis circuit, and that confirms that we have a lot of competition out there. It is going to be some kind of drag race down to the first corner, all the way through the grid. It's 580 meters down there, and of course you get a slipstream. It is a tailwind. Cars will be a bit flighty when they get down there as well, because tyre temperatures and brake temperatures will not be absolutely optimized, of course, as they've come off the line. They fire up the rear tyres of the grid with 1,000 horsepower, but the front tyres are not exactly. You got no tools available to you necessarily once you get to the grid to keep those front tyres up. So it'll be a big challenge down into the first corner, and one I'm very much looking forward to.
Confirmation there then that Kimi Räikkönen starts on the medium. The other 19 riders and runners have soft tyres on to get them through the first stint, and you just saw there Lewis Hamilton, lap 33 of the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix. He took the lead, and he has not let that lead go here ever since. Hamilton aiming for a 6th Grand Prix victory here at this circuit to equal Michael Schumacher's record here. But Verstappen alongside him, Bottas hoping to get a slipstream, and then 2 Ferraris and an Alpine wanting to get involved as well. I cannot wait, Martin, for the stampede into turn 1.
And you'll see on the right-hand side of the grid, there's a lot more rubber down. We have had a lot of support races here through the event, and obviously there's less grip on the right-hand side. Therefore, they're getting more wheel spin, laying more rubber down, because the racing line is very much out of the last corner and hanging left all the way down the pit straight. So we have got a little bit of a delta, a difference between the two sides of the grid, but it's more about the slipstream than anything else down there.
Fastest pit stop of the season for Red Bull, 1.93 seconds. Could the pit stop performance come into play in terms of determining track position today, I wonder?
It could well be, especially if we only one stop. It depends if Max can get ahead of or stay just behind Hamilton. If Bottas clears Verstappen down into the first corner, I think we've got a different race on our hands. And then we've got to look out for the likes of Sergio Perez coming through. He's out of position. I think the 2 McLaren drivers are a little bit out of position as well compared to the ultimate pace of their cars. Ferrari have been a little bit hard on their tyres, and we'll see. And this is the track that'll punish those.
And quickly to Karun Chandok. Good afternoon.
Yeah, just a quick one, guys. Looking at the grid boxes, Max Verstappen's actually got a lot of rubber in front of him from the dirty side of the grid. So it looks like he and the support races before him have cleaned up that side for the start. So watch out for that.
Lewis Hamilton was on the team radio saying just the same thing. He looked across when sat in the cockpit and said they've got a lot more rubber down alongside me. And the team said, yep, A-firm, Lewis, don't worry. We've noted it. It shouldn't make too much difference.
And Lewis really backing the pack up. He doesn't want to sit on the front of the grid any longer than he has to. Well, it used to be time back in the day. Jean-Marie Balestre would tell us at the next driver's briefing how long it took us. And we were told we must get all lined up within 30 seconds. They don't seem to have that control today. But so you can sit. If you don't back the pack up, you can sit on pole position an awful long time.
So far this season, in Bahrain, victory for Max Verstappen. In Imola, victory for Lewis Hamilton. In Portimao, victory for Lewis Hamilton it is. Shared around the amounts of victories, but no driver has won from pole position. Will that change around today, I wonder? Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen sharing the top 3 on the grid. These drivers have all shared the podium here in each of the last 3 years as well. Sometimes a run has to come to an end, but we'll see what happens then this afternoon as Nikita Mazepin puts his Haas car at the rear of the grid, and the drivers looking at the lights, and then the 600-meter dash from pole down towards the first braking zone. 5 lights ahead of the drivers. It's lights out and away we go, and I think Verstappen got a slightly better start than Lewis Hamilton, and also Charles Leclerc a better start than Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton is just leading ahead then of Max Verstappen on the inside of the Ferrari Esteban Ocon as Verstappen goes into turn 1 and goes past the Mercedes. He got his elbows out there, Max Verstappen, and takes the lead of the race from Lewis Hamilton and then Valtteri Bottas. They're all clean through the first couple of corners, but that was such an important move for Verstappen, and he got it done well.
Once again, Verstappen with razor blades on his elbows, and he would not yield. All fair. It was a good racing and Lewis did well to just step out of it and live for another 66 laps.
Through turn 4 on the inside of the Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso looking to make up places in his battle with Lance Stroll. We're watching there as the Spanish driver of Carlos Sainz doing battle with the McLaren of Lando Norris, and Esteban Ocon just ahead of those two. Verstappen leads, Hamilton, Leclerc, Bottas, Ricciardo, Ocon, Perez, Sainz, Norris and Fernando Alonso. You can see the two Aston Martins getting interested in each other there as well, and the two Alfa Romeos. Raikkonen just ahead now of Antonio Giovinazzi. What an important start though for Max Verstappen in this race, as round the inside at turn 11, Giovinazzi ahead then of Kimi Raikkonen. Now through the final chicane we go, and down the main straight. What is Verstappen's advantage going to be at the end of this lap? 1.5 seconds on Hamilton already. Look at the gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes.
DRS doesn't open for 2 laps, of course, after the start of the drag reduction system, opening the rear wing like a great big letterbox, and Verstappen has already got clear of that 1 second gap that he needs back to Lewis Hamilton. Leclerc up a place, Perez up 2 places now.
And Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control, quickly to you.
With Max Verstappen.
Anthony,
Max Verstappen, yeah, sorry. Max Verstappen had a great start. He was really brave in where he placed that car at the start of the race, just a little bit ahead of the yellow line, so taking every slight advantage he could. And then obviously down into turn 1, I've just checked, don't think there was contact, but it was so close. Great move.
Yeah, Lewis had to take evasive action there. One man who's made a very good start as well, Mick Schumacher, up to 16th, already overtaken Tsunoda and George Russell as well. He made a feature in his F2 championship winning season last year of making great starts, and he's done it here in his 4th Formula 1 Grand Prix as Verstappen heads the cars now down into the chicane to end the 2nd lap of this race. Lewis Hamilton's run as a leader of the Spanish Grand Prix came to an end. Lap 33 in 2018, first corner in 2021, that run disappeared. Hamilton now 1.7 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Leclerc in 3rd, Bottas, poor start from him, down in 4th, ahead of Ricciardo, who's made up places from 7th, Perez, who's made up places from 6th, Ocon down to 7th, Sainz is in 8th, ahead of Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso. Stroll and Vettel, who has made up 1 place, 11th and 12th, and Pierre Gasly in 13th, and we can look at that start again, and I thought live at the time, Verstappen just got the better reaction, and I think that confirms it, Martin.
Yeah, Red Bull's getting away really well, isn't it? And as Anthony pointed out, he was right at the front of his box, grid box, which allowed him in. Look at the slipstream effect behind them. And then it's Dan Deere on the brakes, and a rude little shove there against Lewis Hamilton. But Max was on the racing line. He had the high ground. He was ahead.
Here we go, on board then with Max Verstappen, and we'll see beautifully how he slips behind Hamilton and how close they get in turn 1.
And Lewis probably will have wished when he sees that again that he'd have slammed across to the right-hand side. He could have done it, but in his mirrors it would have looked like the Red Bull was not exactly far enough behind him, but there was a point where Lewis could have covered the inside, but I'm sure it didn't look quite that way from where he was sitting.
How did they not make contact going into turn 1 though? You'll see how close they get once again. Oh, he really did have to back off there, Lewis Hamilton, and we're now on board with the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Valtteri Bottas to his left-hand side, but that's not going to last long, as Bottas then takes turn 1, and Leclerc, keeping out of the dirty air of that Mercedes in front of him, now swoops around the outside at turn 3.
Yeah, unfortunately for Valtteri, and well, that's very much a Fernando Alonso he's just done there, isn't it, around the outside. But Valtteri overly cautious, quite tight against the apex in turn 3. But Valtteri was moving along really nicely and had to get out of it because Lewis was busy recovering.
He is still within 0.7 of a second or so, is Valtteri Bottas on Charles Leclerc. A close battle, and one of the closest on the track at the moment as he tries to reclaim that 3rd place. Out in front, Verstappen maintaining 1.5 to 2 second advantage over Lewis Hamilton. And Pierre Gasly is now been investigated for being out of position at the start of the race.
Well, that comes from a piece of data that's gone to the FIA, so that's a slam dunk penalty, I would have thought, that they've raised that. So something's flashed up as possibly it was too far forward in his start box or something like that. But Lewis Hamilton is certainly getting on it on this lap. 0.4 quicker in the first sector than Max Verstappen, and they're matched in the middle sector.
Valtteri Bottas now is behind Charles Leclerc and will get DRS along the main straight as we see first and second disappearing through turn one they go. Bottas gaining on Charles Leclerc. Is he brave enough to make a very late move down into turn one? Well, he might be brave enough, but sadly he's not close enough to do it. Down that main straight or along a lap, you need a pace difference similar to a Singapore or a Hungary of Monaco, about a 1.8 seconds pace advantage to get an overtake done. That's how tricky it is here.
And we were on board with Valtteri Bottas there through turn three. He's not super confident with a full load of fuel on through there, but Lewis did indeed take 2.5 tenths out of Verstappen's lead on the previous lap. I have to say, if you've got a neutral cap on and you're looking for a great race this afternoon, that was the perfect start for us.
Well, the man who has led for so often is now behind Max Verstappen. So you're absolutely right here. We don't care who wins here in the commentary box as long as we get some great racing, and we've had a lot of that during this season so far. Valtteri Bottas very much cares about who wins. He'd like it to be him once upon a time. It was in Russia the last time that Valtteri managed victory, but he's struggling a touch behind Charles Leclerc, and he's had to move back a little bit here, I think, to cool brakes, to cool tyres as well. And Bottas is just losing in that fight with Charles Leclerc as it stands. DRS for Sergio Perez behind Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo hasn't got the DRS on Valtteri Bottas. Here we go. Sergio Perez down towards turn one. Nothing doing in terms of an overtake, so they stay in 5th and 6th place.
Difficult qualifying for Sergio. Complained a bit of dizziness. Then we were reading that he had a shoulder issue. And then we read again and heard again, he feels great today.
Here comes the Williams of George Russell trying to make a move on Mick Schumacher into turn one. Nothing doing. Yes, I spoke to Sergio this morning. He said, look, I was just lacking energy. I was feeling a bit dizzy, but I am so much better today. And wanting to make up for what was a very disappointing qualifying, albeit he was slightly under the weather during the course of it. This is the battle for 17th. Mick Schumacher, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi, and getting detached at the back of it, Nikita Mazepin.
I have to say, they're not really up front in going into total tyre management mode. They're trying to pull a gap. You need 21 seconds to make a pit stop here successfully. We know that traditionally Red Bull have been a bit faster than Mercedes as well. Mercedes tend to go for the sort of solid pit stop, although they've had a few problems of late as well. But they're pulling out quite a gap, with Leclerc in 3rd place being a bit of a cork in the bottle there. It's fast going to turn into a 2-horse race.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc at the moment lapping about a second a lap slower than Hamilton and Verstappen, and all this is doing at the moment is destroying Valtteri Bottas's race. And strategically, is he much use now to Mercedes in terms of helping Hamilton who's a bit further up the road, or helping himself? We'll find out in the fullness of time, but he does not want to be behind that Ferrari for much longer. At Sky Race Control, Anthony Davidson. OK, we'll go to Ant in a couple of seconds. To Karun Chandok, though.
Yeah, thanks, Crofty. You're absolutely right. This is a disaster for Mercedes' strategy, really, isn't it? They didn't want to lose out behind any of the midfield cars. The pace difference is a second a lap that Bottas is losing here. And this is critical because they could have, with that extra set of mediums, put one of the cars, ideally Bottas maybe, on a 2-stop to try and pressurize Red Bull, exactly as they did in Bahrain, if you remember, at the opening race. Quick line on Sergio Perez. He's had a good start to this race, making up a couple of places. Carlos Sainz, the loser there, losing out 2 places at the opening lap. Just a quick weather update. We saw and heard the drivers talking about spots of rain. That risk seems to have gone away, guys. The wind, though, has also died down. It's very still up here on the top of the pit lane.
Which is not what Valtteri Bottas wants, but he might be, just a few metres shy of making that late lunge into turn one. He'd like a headwind there because the DRS would be more powerful as a result.
Well, what are these yellow flags for then in sectors 2 and 3? Because there are not too many cars up the road. Verstappen and Hamilton still moving around. There it is.
Yuki Tsunoda. Engine stopped, says Yuki Tsunoda, on the outside of turn 10, the newly reprofiled turn 10.
Oh, it's a tricky spot. to have a car with no motor. That's a very tricky spot. Might just need a safety car. You can't send marshals out there. There is a nice big gap though, with the pack still quite tight, but still don't think you can send a marshal out there. And of course you've got a massive gravel trap. I can't see any other way than a safety car.
Well, so far, in the last 6 races, we have seen Bert Mailander come out in a safety car at each and every one of them. Wouldn't be at all surprised. Yeah, safety car is going to be deployed. Meanwhile, this was a few moments ago. George Russell, who's been threatening to get past Mick Schumacher for about 3 laps now. There he goes.
Mick's doing a great job, isn't he, there at Haas, young Mick Schumacher. And yeah, I mean, you can fire these motors back up again, as we saw with Sergio Perez, for example, in Bahrain. You can, we're using the battery power, but quite clearly the AlphaTauri does not want to restart. And this is massively frustrating for Red Bull. The sister team has caused a safety car when, you know, Max and Lewis were way out front. And it's the full safety car, it's not the virtual one. We're going to see more of the full safety car this year. It's got sponsorship on it. We're definitely going to see more of it.
I think we're going to see a few pit stops here. What's happening down at Alfa Romeo? Have they brought the wrong tyres out? Have they got an incomplete set? Rather looks like it. Antonio Giovinazzi's waiting to be serviced with a fresh set of tyres.
I suspect they might be Raikkonen tyres. Yeah, because there must be a set of Raikkonen tyres that were going on it.
Karun, you can see all this.
Yeah, I can. I mean, this is kind of like that Nürburgring race. Remember with Eddie Irvine, the mechanics just running round and round. He's finally on his way. But I think you're right, guys. I think they were probably expecting the other car. And they had to swap it because, unfortunately, it would have resulted in an exclusion if you put the wrong tyres on. Or an extra
puncture.
Ah, the front left. And then they can't just change one because it has to match the compound and the rest of the set. So, that's, to be honest, I'm surprised they even got out to the pit lane before they picked up the puncture, because you'd notice it when you picked it up.
Well, I was just about to say, that's very smart work there from the mechanic on that front left to say, no, we can't go out with this. Look, it's got a puncture.
I know, and it's going to weigh the same, isn't it, whether it's got air in it or not. So that was very well spotted. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A totally deflated tyre turns up in a pit stop. I've never seen that before.
Well, you've done a few more races than me, and I'm scratching my head as well on that one. Either way, we have a safety car as Yuki Tsunoda's AlphaTauri is taken away by the marshals. Who's going to benefit from this safety car? Charles Leclerc to catch up. He was quite a few seconds behind. Valtteri Bottas might think about making a move at the restart as well. Down at Williams, they're waiting for a car to come in. Looks like George Russell is making his way into his pit box.
Stacking them. They're stacking the Williams, which is why you're seeing so many tyres. And then
neat work as well there. But just it was neat work, and then sadly at the right rear, something was a little bit awry, and George was stopped for a bit longer than they would have wanted.
It'd be handy if you could do that with your road car, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would save an awful lot of bother. It's all clear in terms of the AlphaTauri. It has gone, and now, after this lap, we can get racing again.
Think about what we can do differently to the cars ahead. Copy that.
Simon Roberts is the Williams team principal, and he can explain why we had a double stack there. Simon, a strategic gamble or what?
It was a bit strategic, yeah, but you know, we were kind of on the cusp for stopping or not, and then when there was a slow stop ahead of us, it gave us a window to drop both cars into.
Come on.
It works out later in the race.
Is that something you practice a lot, the double stack back at the factory?
We don't practice at the factory, but we practice it here every weekend, yeah. So some of the guys are used to. So it's always a bit risky, but we're confident, and it was worth it this time.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Simon. Back with you a little bit later on. So Antonio Giovinazzi drops behind the two Williams, who have made their first pit stop in this race. Russell and Latifi 17th and 18th now.
Surely Max is going to want to start this as late as possible, otherwise he's going to toe. He's going to slipstream Lewis in the pack all the way down the straight, and he's gone.
He's gone right now. No overtaking, of course, until you get to the line, but Max Verstappen is off and running, and Lewis Hamilton trying to get to a spot where the Ferrari behind him can't get the benefit of a toe. But he's given up on that, and he's gone for the best place possible to go into turn one. Sergio Perez is in a duel with Esteban Ocon, 6th and 7th on the racetrack.
Yeah, Max was trying to break the toe. Quick thinking there. You're allowed to do that. You know, you might think, well, you're not allowed to move across the track like that. That's only when you're in combat. If there's nobody around you, you can move side to side.
Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll now going through turn 4. Alonso's got the inside line, but can Stroll hang on to this to take the inside line at turn 5 and take a position and move into 9th place? He can. He's ahead of Fernando Alonso into 10th place. They got very, very close together. That was a pretty fierce contest. Stroll wins out.
Top draw driving there from Lance Stroll. Really good stuff. Around the outside of turn 4 gives you the inside of turn 5.
On fresher tyres, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi ahead now of Nikita Mazepin as we look to see Pierre Gasly, who is making a challenge on Sebastian Vettel, and he has been given a penalty, Martin.
Yeah, for the out of position at the start. As I said, that's a slam dunk penalty. Otherwise, it just wouldn't have shown up in the first place if there wasn't some data. You know, that won't be a judgment decision by the stewards. That will be a matter of fact.
5-second time penalty. He'll stop for his pit stop, and they'll wait for 5 seconds before they can then work on his car, and he'll have to take that as Hamilton now 8/10 behind Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc already becoming a bit more detached and keeping Valtteri Bottas at bay.
Of course, after a safety car restart, then you don't have the DRS for 2 laps. Again, which Max Verstappen will be very pleased about.
So Hamilton's got to try and hang on a little bit to then start getting the benefit of that DRS, and we can see now Pierre Gasly at the start.
Oh yeah, that's guilty as charged and some.
That's why he's been given that 5-second penalty, which you can see on the replay.
Yeah, the yellow stripe out to the, because you can't see out the front of your own car, you can't see the front of it at all. The yellow stripe out the side, it helps you place your wheel. But as Max worked out, you don't actually have to place your wheel on there. You mustn't have any relative movement when the lights go out.
Fernando Alonso has had his first, maybe for himself and certainly hopefully for himself, last track violation of the afternoon. He's had a track limit violation down at turn 2 for not coming back onto the track on the right side or the left-hand side of the bollard, so not coming back the right way. 2 of those, you get a warning, and a black and white flag will be shown on your 3rd occasion. You might start getting penalties.
Look at that then, Lewis. It says, no, it's 9/10 now. When he crossed the line, it was a second. But the detection points are not on the start-finish line, of course, for the 2 DRS zones. And we'll show you those. And DRS is now enabled. So Lewis is within range now.
We saw Valtteri Bottas within range for a couple of laps on Charles Leclerc, then he had to just back off to cool tyres, to cool brakes as well. How long can Lewis Hamilton stay in that dirty air being thrown up from the rear of the Red Bull as they make their approach towards the first DRS zone now between 9 and 10?
And with those sort of easy laps at safety car speed, it probably means they could stretch to a 1-stopper now this afternoon. It gives the tyres a bit of respite, they cool down a bit, and of course you're just not wearing them at anything like the rate at safety car speeds.
Yeah, to make a 1-stop work, you were looking, starting on the softs, to try and go to lap 35 before you put the mediums on. You might be able just to eke it out a touch more now, as you rightly say, Martin. That battle for first, it's just 7/100 separating Verstappen from Hamilton in DRS range. Make that a 1/10 of a second now as they power their way down the main straight. It's around about 185 miles an hour, climbing ever still 187 miles an hour by the time they break into that first turn. Valtteri Bottas still behind Charles Leclerc, who'll be thinking, good, I'm in the podium places here at a track that's difficult to overtake. I'll make this as frustrating as I possibly can for Mercedes all afternoon.
Yeah, and the 2 at the front are already pulling out 8/9 of a second per lap from 3rd and 4th, and 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap for the rest of the top 10. So these 2 have elevated themselves, haven't they? Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, they are absolutely flying.
They certainly are. Close battles elsewhere. Perez still on Ricciardo's tail, still trying to get past the McLaren. The other McLaren of Lando Norris is in 9th place at the moment, just ahead of him. His former teammate Carlos Sainz has got a bit of DRS to use in his battle with Esteban Ocon. Fernando Alonso still in touch with Lance Stroll down in 11th place. Pierre Gasly in 13th is within a second of Sebastian Vettel as well. And Nicholas Latifi is coming up to the back of Mick Schumacher to try and get past him. He's within DRS range too, as Bottas sliding away out of turn 13. Struggling for grip, maybe, or just a bit too much pace?
Well, we know the Mercedes is a car that's designed to be at the front and disappear, isn't it? Off into the lead in the distance. It's never, well, it hasn't for some time been a particularly good car following others, and you can see Valtteri there really struggling to get the rear axle to grip. Here we go.
Carlos Sainz has got DRS. Carlos Sainz would like about another 70 metres of straight there to try and make a move with DRS on Esteban Ocon. Sainz, who started 6th on the grid, his best qualifying performance here since his debut in 2015 for Toro Rosso. He was 5th on the grid then, and Nicholas Latifi has got past Mick Schumacher and popped himself up into 16th place.
Kimi Räikkönen started on the medium, so he's done all right, up to 14th from where he started. He had a surprisingly poor qualifying. It's just Kimi, the two Alphas have been quite quick through practice sessions, haven't they? Presumably with a touch less fuel or something, because it didn't show up when it mattered.
This is Latifi on Schumacher. There he goes, just had a distinct pace advantage there. Yeah, for Kimi, first time that he was knocked out in Q1 here in Spain in 12 years. 12 years in succession. Sebastian Vettel has scored points in this particular race, and he's currently embroiled in a battle with Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, who's got a 5-second time penalty coming his way when he makes his first pit stop.
We've got a couple of 3 DRS trains going on out there where they've all got access to DRS when they're following somebody else. So there's relatively nothing to be gained for the 2nd, 3rd and 4th drivers in the queue. As you can see, those rear wings are open there all the way behind Fernando Alonso.
And it's those sort of DRS trains, Martin, that the strategists will be looking at and thinking the last thing we want to do is to pit in this race and get into the middle of a DRS train.
We are still on plan C. Tires are better than expected, plan C.
That's useful information for Carlos Sainz. Ferrari have been struggling a bit with overheating their tyres in recent races.
I wonder how many plans there are. But anyway, it sounds like there's at least 3 at Ferrari. Karun, what can you tell us?
Also, I wonder how many plans you can remember, Martin, as a driver when you're going around. The safety car actually has made a bit of a mess of Bottas, hasn't he? Because it's bunched the pack up behind him. So it means that in terms of options, first of all, the top 2 can now go longer on that opening set of soft tyres, as you guys rightly mentioned. So it means that really, in terms of flexibility, it's narrowed down the options for Bottas. So not only is he stuck behind Charles Leclerc, but also the strategic options have closed down for him. So not good news. It's interesting that up front, Hamilton has just edged himself, I think, within DRS zone again on this last lap. So look out, lap 17 at the moment. They could probably go another 5 laps before that first pit stop.
Cheers, Karun.
Plan B.
Plan B for Charles Leclerc, plan C for Carlos Sainz, plan A for Max Verstappen at the moment, and an A+ start and an A+ opening 17 laps.
I'm surprised they don't have, like we do in aviation, as our friend Ted knows well, and where we have a Bravo or a Charlie, because it would be very easy when you're doing 200 miles an hour to miss the exact detail of a B or a C, but the radios are very good, it must be said.
What about the state of the tyres on Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes?
The right rear looks ugly, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just?
That looks blistered. The right rear is blistered. Be concerned about the, and so is the right rear of Max's as well. You'd be concerned then about the structural integrity of the tyre if it blisters too deeply. But that is the pace these two are going at. It is really head-to-head, isn't it? They're just pumping in the lap times, and the tyres don't look like they're enjoying it a whole load.
See, Hamilton is going to have to suffer this for a while, though, because you look at take 22 seconds as your pit stop loss when you come into the track.
Tyres are starting to drop. Okay, copy.
If Hamilton pitted now, Martin, he'd be right in the middle of that Alonso-Vettel battle, that DRS train, and you do not want to be coming out into that at all.
No, they got to edge him further yet. But if they are blisters on the right rear, then, and it's an unusual one because all the fast corners are right-handers, like turn 9 here. So it's normally your front left that's under most pressure. Your right rear is.
This might be an amazing
corners, but.
Don't want to jinx it too soon, but
Now, does it? I wonder if it's just can't be pickup. It can't be pickup, but certainly the right rear tyres of those two looks a bit ugly.
And if you're Max Verstappen, this is a very sensible pace at the moment. You're looking after your tyres. You're not stretching it too much. You're keeping Hamilton in a place where he doesn't want to be, i.e. has to put up with the tyres the way they are. Can't pit because he's right into the middle of the kerfuffle in the midfield, which is looking lovely for Max Verstappen at the moment.
Yeah, and of course Lewis has been driving around in the dirty air and still just tantalisingly close to being under 1 second behind, isn't he, to get the DRS, to get his rear wing open, which will give him around 18 kilometres per hour. What's that, 12 miles per hour extra speed, plus the slipstream you then pick up. But then you pay the price for the dirty air when you get there.
Paying the price for being out of position at the start, Pierre Gasly will have a 5-second time penalty applied to this pit stop, so they won't be working for 5 seconds. Someone will be on a stopwatch and will shout go now before they can change the tyres. Medium compound tyre going on for Pierre Gasly, so keeping their options alive. They might do a 2-stopper. This might be a bit early for a 1-stopper, but they've got the opportunity to switch.
Yeah, it feels forever when you're sitting there. In fact, it looked forever, didn't it, when we were watching it? But what makes it worse is when you're sitting in the pit lane like that, and if you can hear cars going wow, 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 past you, it just feels like forever. But Pierre did not have that problem because he's last.
As you saw from our Powered by AWS graphic on the screen, the pit window for a 2-stop is open, but who's going to take advantage, I wonder? Anthony Davidson, to you.
Yeah, Crofty, just a quick one. Hamilton's been on the radio saying that he wants to take out some front flap on the car in the pit stop. They can do that very quickly within the time limit as well, changing the tyres, believe it or not. So he's just feeling that the front end's a bit too strong, the car's a bit too pointy at this stage. Maybe it's just the effect of following the car in front, who knows? But yeah, that some front wing expect to come out of it in the pit stop.
Sebastian Vettel's got a nice gap in his rear wing open at the moment. He's got DRS. Fernando Alonso ahead of him hasn't. But once again, that straight is just not long enough for Sebastian Vettel or for anyone to make a move into turn 1.
Yeah, unlike last Sunday, the DRS is there's not enough pit straight, basically, is there, to make the DRS unduly effective here. But not that we want a load of DRS passes anyway. Sebastian, yeah, these tyres are not enjoying it. They're having to be so gentle. Look how long he has to wait for the front end to hook up. But at the moment, one Aston Martin in the points, 10th with Lance Stroll, and Seb Vettel running 12th with Fernando Alonso between them. So Alpine haven't had perhaps quite the race pace that we were expecting.
No, the pace at the moment.
Yeah, tyres are okay, struggling with front left and rears.
Well, they don't look great, but Seb's living with it. A 1:25.1 for his last lap for Fernando Alonso, 1:24.7 for Esteban Ocon, a couple of tenths slower than the car in front of him, which is Sergio Perez, and he's just gone half a second slower on that previous lap than Perez. Talking about the Alpine race pace.
Yeah, so Max out front, looks like he's just managing the gap back to Hamilton. It's now up to 1.5 seconds just to keep him out of drag reduction system. And once again then they're pulling away at the front, but they of course lost all of the gap they built in the early stages with the safety car. And I think they'll all be very, very pleased to get rid of these soft tyres.
Quite. They started on the soft tyre to make sure that they could get through into Q3. Very, very tight, congested battle in qualifying, and the time you do your best lap on in Q2. The set of tyres you use for that time, well, you have to start the race on. And as it was last year, all the top 10 having to start on the softs. But I'm sure if you could give them a free choice, they would have all gone on those yellow striped mediums, a bit more durable and nice and sticky and grippy as well. Struggling a bit with the rears, says Valtteri Bottas, which is unsurprising as he's been chasing Charles Leclerc and very close to him for the opening third of this race.
That looked closer, does it not? Hamilton looks quite a bit closer there. Yes, well, it was 1.5 seconds, wasn't it? It's now down to a second. So maybe Hamilton backing off a bit, cooling his tyres, charging his battery, and Aston Martin getting ready for a stop, and that'll trigger quite a lot of activity there in the midfield. But Lewis Hamilton visibly closer there to Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he's under a second now as Fernando Alonso comes in, and Sebastian Vettel as well. That stop by Pierre Gasly, and the extra time taken might just have created a little bit of a window for those that were racing around him. Alonso is away, 2.5 seconds. Sebastian Vettel, sadly for him, 1.5 seconds slower on that pit stop. We said before the start of this race, the performance of the pit crews might just make quite a difference here this afternoon. And for Sebastian Vettel, he comes out onto the track behind Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. And there's that difference right there.
Yeah, it cost him, didn't it? But, Gasly, of course, up to speed on his medium compound tyres. Karun.
There's a gap now, guys, between Perez and Ocon, where Verstappen and Hamilton can pit and come out in a little bit of free air. Of course, they'll come out behind Perez, who could play the team game. So this could be the big moment between the two pit walls. Who pulls the trigger first for the opening stop and goes for the undercut?
Fernando Alonso, after his pit stop, gets past Nikita Mazepin. Next on the road, Pierre Gasly to try and get past the Russian. And we can have a look now at the respective stops of the Alpine and the Aston Martin crews. Slightly higher advantage point than Karun Chandhok is getting this afternoon. And you can see the work that's gone on there and the time difference.
Those Ferrari mechanics are pretty confident in Fernando Alonso's car control.
Are they confident in their own control as well, as Sainz now comes in for his medium tyres and will be trundling in Formula One terms at 80 kilometres an hour out of the pit lane now and looking to get ahead of Fernando Alonso, who is the car that is just going to be coming over the brow right now. There he is.
So, yeah, Sainz has pitted. If Leclerc and Bottas pit, then it won't be very long before Verstappen and Hamilton have to react to that.
Sebastian Vettel ahead then of Pierre Gasly. You saw Lance Stroll pitting as well as these stops, the Vettel stop, the Gasly stop, just starting to trigger a bit of a chain reaction, and you'll see some more crews getting ready, I'm sure, next time around to welcome their drivers in. Vettel now ahead of Gasly, down in 17th place, but of course they've both stopped. Anthony, to you. As Valtteri Bottas comes in for Mercedes, getting the first stop at Mercedes. Hamilton stays out there behind Verstappen, and within a second, where's Bottas going to come onto the track? For him, he'll be hoping to get ahead, well, definitely of Ocon, who's pitting, and Norris as well. So he comes out in some nice clean air.
So Verstappen and Hamilton are 8 seconds ahead of Leclerc and Bottas. So it won't be too long if Leclerc pits as well. It won't be too long before the leaders have to think about a stop, because otherwise they're going to be losing track position to those on fresh tyres.
George Russell and Nicholas Latifi now up into the points, and don't forget they stopped as the safety car period was just coming to an end.
Well, this is really getting close now, Crofty.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton has been catching Max Verstappen 2/10 in the first sector on this lap, 2/10 in the second sector on this lap.
Lewis could take a really tight line. Oh, look at that. Max really struggling with traction coming out of T12 into 13. But Lewis looks like he can move across the track a little bit better now. And has he... Oh, and Verstappen pits.
Verstappen pits. You saw the tyre performance graphic. Both drivers pretty even. But Mercedes have opted to carry on as Verstappen pits. Well, Karun Chandhok, to you.
Yeah, he's right below me, Crofty. They're a bit slow on the rear left. The rear left tyre, very slow to come out. this is a huge opportunity. And once again, an opportunity given to Mercedes and Hamilton.
What did Hamilton say on Thursday? So far, Red Bull have been making a few mistakes. We can't rely on them to keep making mistakes, but that extra 2 seconds...
Tyres are okay. Copy.
That extra 2 seconds in the pit stop, how crucial is that going to be?
Yeah, but will they bring Lewis in? They're talking about the tyres being okay. I don't know how old that radio message is, but Bottas is absolutely flying out there on his fresh tyres. But the trouble is, Max doesn't really want to punish those brand new tyres too much on the outlap. They've got to get him to the end of the Grand Prix. We're not halfway yet. Otherwise, you'll just open up the surface if you're not careful. I'm assuming Perez will jump out of the way at the first opportunity to let Verstappen through.
It's barely.
Daniel Ricciardo's not going to jump out of the way, and he's the car ahead of Perez.
Can I keep going? Hey, firm, keep it down.
So, Perez does jump out of the way. Max Verstappen moves past his teammate. He's now behind Daniel Ricciardo. That was not the pit stop that Red Bull were looking for, and Mercedes thinking about coming in, keep Hamilton out.
Yeah, so Lewis Hamilton's got to pass Mazepin any time now. He's not always the easiest driver to pass. McLaren obviously getting ready for a stop. Verstappen coming out behind, but Ricciardo must have pitted. Ricciardo has pitted. So that's cleared the way nicely for Max Verstappen.
And as you can see on our AWS graphic there, what was at one stage an 80% chance of a Hamilton overtake has gone down by half.
And Hamilton's still behind Mazepin.
Ask Sergio Perez about blue flags and Nikita Mazepin.
Michael, blue flags. Michael, this guy makes us lose the position.
That's Toto Wolff talking to race control.
Yeah, talking to Michael Massey. Well, that's good. I like that. I like we get access to that now.
Wow, you can hear the agitation in his voice as well. Are Mercedes going to bring Lewis Hamilton in at the end of this lap? Or is he going to have to keep going a little bit further due to the time that he might have lost on this lap, stuck behind Nikita Mazepin at 0.7 of a second. Verstappen quicker than Hamilton in the first sector on this lap, 0.8 of a second quicker in the second sector. Mercedes say no, we'll keep Lewis Hamilton out for a bit longer.
Yeah, remember I talked about an 8-second advantage they had. So I think what Mercedes are doing is using up some of that 8 seconds they had over third place and buying Lewis a lot more grip at the end of the Grand Prix.
And it's one thing, though, to have that grip at the end of the Grand Prix, but what he might be doing here, Martin, is sacrificing track position in the race in terms of pitting and coming out behind Verstappen for a bit more race at the end.
2.5 seconds saved to Hamilton now, so look after your tyres. Both front left and rear left were a limitation. Hamilton going long.
It's a 50-50 choice, go long or go short. Mercedes have decided to go long with Lewis Hamilton. On a track like this, do you really want to give up the track position that might be coming your way? It's you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't sometimes, but here, track position is key.
It is, but of course, you know, this track is dominated by corners. Every straight is dominated by your exit speed from the previous corner. So if they can get him, you know, a chunk of laps down the road and still then maintain second place.
Let's have a look then at the Max Verstappen pit stop. And of course, Hamilton was catching Verstappen at the end of the stint, forcing that Red Bull to pit earlier.
Yeah, I know what's happened.
Yeah, it's okay.
So they were late coming out with one of the tyres, the front left.
Rear left, but yeah. It's now he's got to nurse them. Now he's got to nurse those tyres a little bit because he's got to get them to the end. And Lewis not pitting.
So Lewis, it won't be long. Currently unsafe to Verstappen. 4 seconds.
As Sergio Perez now pits, as you can see, and will this be a slightly smarter pit stop for Sergio Perez? Certainly looked it. But by the looks of those replays, was that a late call, do you think, to bring Verstappen in?
Looks that way, doesn't it? A very late call, and he sort of dived in the pit lane. So, to remind you then, Max Verstappen stopped on lap 24 for his fresh tyres.
Perez pits, George Russell is ahead in 7th place. Nicholas Latifi has come in for a second pit stop, which is why you can see him tumbling down the graphics. Lando Norris on the fringes of the points at the moment, down in 11th. Perez after George Russell and trying to make another move up as
box.
As Hamilton comes in for his pit stop. Karun, to you.
Yeah, all the tyres are here, unlike the Red Bull situation. The team nice and early. Hamilton gets a clean entry into his pit walk. No problems here, all the way on track. That's a super stop from Mercedes. Lots of fist bumping here from the mechanics.
2.7 seconds. Max Verstappen was 4 seconds. Red Bull think they're safe in this pit stop to the threat of Mercedes, and they are, because there goes Verstappen down the straight as Hamilton comes out. But Hamilton will be on tyres 5 or 6 laps fresher. 5 laps fresher at the end of this race as Charles Leclerc finally stops as well. And a smart pit stop from the Ferrari crew. There's a nice gap that has opened up for Charles Leclerc, who should come out comfortably ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, who hasn't stopped yet, and Daniel Ricciardo as well. So, 5 laps fresher at the end. Do Mercedes think we are going to have better tyre wear and we'll be able to get Red Bull at the end of this race?
We'll find out, Crofty. I'm just looking at Bottas. Bottas then has cleared, quite comfortably cleared.
Engine is firing. The spark plug, maybe? Yeah, understood. We're managing an issue.
So Bottas with the early stop has comfortably cleared Leclerc and is right on Hamilton's tail, actually. Hamilton running longer, of course. So that's brought Bottas into play. And now the two Mercedes, if they've got the grip, they can start hunting down the Red Bull if they've got the speed.
Absolutely, the grip will give them speed through the corners. And the theory is that Red Bull have a slight straight line speed advantage as well.
Catch Verstappen.
Mercedes still think all to play for then, and Verstappen could be vulnerable towards the latter stages of this race. But Charles Leclerc behind Valtteri Bottas, and by a fair margin now, will have much fresher tyres at the end. Kimi Raikkonen has been on that set of medium tyres from the start, and Daniel Ricciardo is now ahead of him and up into 5th place.
Hamilton a good half-second quicker than Verstappen in the final 2 sectors of the previous lap. And yeah, we got the charge of Mercedes-Benz now. Looks like they'll be coming back, but Bottas stopped on lap 23. Verstappen 24, Hamilton 29.
Keep a note of those numbers. So they might come into play at the end. And here is Fernando Alonso going around the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi, and you've got Sebastian Vettel who wants to make a move around the outside at turn 3 as well, but I think he might just miss out. And on the inside of Sebastian Vettel, here comes Pierre Gasly at turn 4. You don't often see 3 cars so close together through turn 4. And how close was Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin to the AlphaTauri going through there? Either way, he's managed to get the move done that he really wanted to get past Antonio Giovinazzi, and now Gasly will come to the Italian's rear wing and have to stay behind him for a bit longer.
Yeah, a good move there from Seb Vettel. He nearly lost a place and he turned it into gaining a place, and up the inside of turn 5 is not normally an easy overtaking. Look at that, and Hamilton 1.4 seconds quicker than Verstappen on the previous lap. Max is going to have to re-engage.
This is Sergio Perez on Kimi Raikkonen, as we mentioned, on the medium tyres from the start. Perez has only just come in for his tyres, and easy overtake down to the turn 1. Perez now right behind Daniel Ricciardo as car number 55, Carlos Sainz, gets past Kimi Raikkonen. He's the only driver yet to stop in this race. Lap 31, 19 still running. Yuki Tsunoda with an engine issue and a loss of power, forcing the safety car early on, the only driver to retire.
Yeah, of course, Kimi started, the only driver to start on the medium compound tyres, so that's his strategy for the afternoon. And how's this all shaken out then? Certainly Bottas was the winner with that early stop, wasn't he? But he's dropping off Hamilton now as Hamilton edges towards Hamilton, already 8/10 up on this current lap. He's going to be all over the back of Verstappen very soon.
Did Mercedes realise that the medium tyre was going to suit their car an awful lot more? Did they expect this sort of pace? Because well, whilst they spent the first stint concerned with blistering on the tyres, this is just a blistering pace that will only be of a concern to Red Bull and Max Verstappen.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Lewis will remember the little shove he got in turn 1 of the first lap if he does indeed get close enough. But at the moment, he's comfortably the faster driver of the two.
Expecting a little more elbow action as they get towards turn 1. Mind you, at this pace, Hamilton could get towards turn 1 a few car lengths ahead, which we'll see how it all transpires. But we've got Sergio Perez in a Red Bull against Daniel Ricciardo, former Red Bull driver, now at McLaren. Ricciardo in 5th place in this race. Perez looking very keen behind him to try and get past.
Yeah, should he do so, that would release Perez to head off down the road and have a look at 4th place man Leclerc if he's got anything like the pace of team leader Verstappen.
We can see this battle and we can watch on board with Lewis Hamilton as well to see just how much closer he is getting to Max Verstappen.
I mean, Lewis he'll be there 3 laps from now. Lewis will be checking out the gearbox bolts on the Red Bull.
On board with Sergio Perez through turn 10. We can see Hamilton down that main straight. The gap 1.6 seconds as they ended lap 32.
Oh, he's a second a lap quicker again, but they're now coming up to lap Mazepin, which is always fun.
And already Toto Wolff has been on the radio to race control talking about blue flags and Nikita Mazepin not getting out of the way in time. We'll see what transpires on this occasion. Here comes Sergio Perez then, finished 4th here last year and then got a post-race penalty and had to slip down to 5th. He's looking at 5th place and he's just going to be looking for a lap longer as Ricciardo keeps him very much at bay. Ricciardo and his new team aiming to score points, of course, here at this Spanish Grand Prix, which he hasn't done since he finished 5th for Red Bull back in 2018.
Mazepin staying well out of the way on this occasion, so leaders are through, but look how much closer Hamilton is. I wonder, as Max knows he needs to babysit those tyres a bit, but, well, this is a lot of babysitting going on if that's what's happening.
As Anthony said, though, Lewis was asking for a front flap adjustment on the front wing at the pit stop. Has that made a bit of a difference? Did Red Bull need to make an adjustment too?
That's quicker than Verstappen at this pace. You're going to catch him on the last lap.
Yeah, that's a little bit close for comfort. Valtteri might need to get a bit more of a move on if his tyres will allow it. As you can see, Hamilton now in DRS range.
Well, that's Mercedes then absolutely assuming Lewis will be in the lead by then.
Well, I think if they're not assuming, they might be the only people watching this Grand Prix who aren't making that assumption. But as you say, something like it's easier to gain than it is to pass, or one thing to gain.
I forgot to go into the shop there, park.
To quote the great Murray Walker.
I did go.
Absolutely. Verstappen's just going to have to try and keep Hamilton at bay. I mean, what he's got at his disposal, other than his own talent, of course, is the fact that this isn't the easiest track to pass on, and I don't think turn 10 and the way they've really reprofiled this has made it any easier for overtaking.
Max is going to need to use his battery strategy for the pit straight, isn't he? In defence, the Mercedes still moving about at the back. So, young Max Verstappen, have you just been nursing those tyres? Or is the Mercedes just plain faster?
And unless they were really worried about the tyres dropping off in the last 5 laps or so, why did Mercedes bring Lewis Hamilton in to respond straight away to that Red Bull pit stop when Hamilton could have come out ahead of Verstappen?
Yeah, they would have got track position had they done that. They probably were hoping to go a little bit further than they did, but they then had to cover off Bottas, of course. I'm sure they could have rearranged that, but you know, Valtteri Bottas was right on Hamilton's gearbox after the stops. Yeah. He's not anymore.
No, the difference between Hamilton and Bottas now about 7 seconds. I get the feeling, settle down, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for this battle for quite a few laps here.
Yeah, so Lewis is now into the turbulent air that's been worked hard coming off the Red Bull. And of course that helps you down the straight because the car in front of you is punching a big hole in the air and you get a slipstream. But it hurts you badly in the corners when you want all the aerodynamic effect to be able to pull up to 5G, 5 times the force of gravity through a corner.
Kimi Raikkonen passed by Esteban Ocon. We're over half race distance and still yet to stop. definitely going for that one-stop strategy down at Alfa Romeo. We're still assuming, of course, it's a one-stop strategy for the leaders here, and they're going to get to the checkered flag without making another pit stop.
It's about now, I normally say, thank goodness for Max Verstappen, isn't it? He's definitely giving us a race this afternoon. Anthony, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this strategy here as now Lewis is in DRS, but I just think it's going to be status quo. On this type of circuit, we know how hard it is to overtake in these big, wide, aero-dependent cars with their huge wings. So I expect it to stay like this for quite some time. But if these two can open up the gap to Charles Leclerc behind, it's already 22 seconds. If they can carry on opening that, it gives Mercedes and Hamilton another chance perhaps to undercut the Red Bull and take the fight to him to the end.
Yeah, just looking at the predicted life of the tyres.
I feel like the wind is picking up.
Thank you very much, George. That's not good news for George Russell, by the way. Williams very susceptible to wind issues. Medium tyres, say Pirelli, 40 laps. They should be able to do 40 laps. Hamilton came in for his pit stop, lap 29, so these medium tyres could go to the end, assuming that the performance is where Mercedes wants it. Max Verstappen, lap 24, they might be a couple of laps shy in terms of the performance life. And Valtteri Bottas on lap 23, that might need 3 more laps than Pirelli are predicting, if it's a one-stopper.
So has Lewis got himself, not quite, did he, into the DRS here? No, he hasn't got the rear wing open. So Max is fast enough in the right places. And, well, he might be young, but we know just how rock solid Max Verstappen's head is when you got somebody of the skill and speed and experience of Lewis Hamilton hunting you down. I don't have to know what, normally I'm like, what is Dutch for I'm coming to get you? It's, I know what the English is, and that's how it looks at the moment.
Yeah, Come here, Hallen. Someone actually told me the pronunciation wasn't too bad on that, so I'll give it again. Dutch, or I'm coming to get you. Maybe we need the Dutch now for everything's under control, I'm all okay. There's the difference in the tyre age, 4 laps between Verstappen and Hamilton in Hamilton's favour.
We're watching 2 great drivers for the consecutive race. Absolutely head-to-head.
And one for the future, and certainly the present. Lando Norris gets past Kimi Raikkonen to move up into 9th place. Raikkonen still yet to make his pit stop, and he's got Lance Stroll right behind him at the moment.
So there's the DRS detection. We've just gone over the white line across the track, and now Lewis is going to get it. He has indeed. Look at that. So gain about 18 kilometres per hour. Plus he gets into the slipstream. He's not near enough this time.
So what do you do if you're Max Verstappen at the moment? And look, you've been in these cars, Martin. I haven't during the course of a race. Do you feel a panic, or do you think, no, look, this track is so tricky to overtake, I can keep things nice and calm, I'm all right? And how do you try and keep yourself calm at 200 miles an hour?
Well, remember, of course, in Portimao just 7 days ago, he got a little bit out of shape, and coming out of effectively the last corner, the last traction zone in Portimao, and Lewis was past him in a flash. So it's all about not making any mistakes now, but it's going to be very hard.
That was a lot more easier than I thought.
Still keeping Sergio Perez at bay. Daniel Ricciardo just set his fastest lap of the race so far, maintaining about a half a second gap between himself and the Red Bull as Kimi Raikkonen finally pits. Lap 38 of this race. They can get rid of those tyres, put a set of softs on, and get Kimi to the finish line. 30 laps the soft tyre should be capable of doing. Where's he going to come back out into this race behind his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, and ahead of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, albeit further back in the race.
It doesn't get DRS on this pit straight. So there are there's 2 detection points. Well, I did say we'd point those out to you, but you probably worked them out for yourself anyway. But, so it is on the way in, isn't it, to turn 9, up the hill between 8 and 9, and then you get it between 9 and 10, and then it is the white line across the pits. It's actually the safety car line as well, first safety car line, and then you get DRS down the pit straight. So the detection points are several tens of meters before the actual zone itself.
You see that 18 kilometers an hour for your own eyes there as Sergio Perez gets closer to Daniel Ricciardo, but turn one that comes up a bit too fast for him. It's a patient, strategic game that is being played out there at the moment, and I'm sure Mercedes, 1.1 second gap between Verstappen and Hamilton, they'll be managing that as best they can. The DRS was keeping Hamilton in a little more contention. It's a bit harder to get that DRS advantage back again once you just slip out past the 1 second mark as Vettel pits once more.
Yeah, it's Lewis's charge has stalled out, hasn't it? Just as his aerodynamics have stalled out as well. And as Ant said, around this track, it will be hard to pass, but he was coming at him at 1.5 seconds per lap. So as long as Max can get off that last chicane and onto the pit straight nicely, it looks like he's got enough to cover it, doesn't it, for now?
Yep, 26 laps to go. Safety car, of course, always a threat here in Barcelona. We've already had one this afternoon, and that would concertina the pack up. And I would imagine there was quite a bit of a stampede down in the pit lane with them all coming in. Daniel Ricciardo up ahead is trying to break the toe a bit as Sergio Perez a bit closer on this particular lap. Is he going to run out of straight? Is he going to make a move? Oh, tantalisingly, just a couple of car lengths behind Sergio Perez to be able to put his car in a position to make that move. So he stays in 6th as our race leaders coming up now to lap the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah, and they're not too far away from coming up against quite a lot of cars to lap, although one of them has just pitted in the shape of Lance Stroll.
So Stroll pits once more, and we'll see if that triggers the midfield coming in once more. The word was that this was on a knife edge, this race, between a one-stop and a two-stop strategy. The safety car might have played it more towards the one-stopper, and certainly by starting on the soft tyre, going to the mediums, the leading contenders have kept that option for a one-stop very much alive. But will the tyres hang on enough? In the case of Max Verstappen, 4 or so laps, 5 laps older tyres for him
This is the second time I'm seeing
Control, no weaving on the straight.
We noticed that on the last lap, trying to break the toe, but doing a bit too much of it.
I think you're allowed to, it's the one move rule, especially into the braking zone, is very, very clear. But if you're way ahead of somebody, you're allowed to use the whole track. But obviously race control don't like it.
So here we go then. Max Verstappen, second in the Drivers' Championship. 1 win in the first 3 races. Lewis Hamilton behind him, leading the Drivers' Championship. 2 wins in the first 3 races. Valtteri Bottas, third at the moment. No wins in the first 3 races, but lapping quicker still than Max Verstappen. And the Mercedes team telling him that at his pace, he might just be able to catch Verstappen on the last lap. Don't discount Valtteri Bottas out of second place, maybe even the lead by the end of this race. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen all sharing the podium here in each of the last 3 years. It's the only time that 3 drivers have done that at a single circuit, 3 years in succession.
Yeah, that's where the experience comes in as well now. Max, you mustn't start defending fresh air. You mustn't defend phantom moves and lose time. You've got to wait until they really are in with a chance of overtaking you. Otherwise, you just tighten the angle of the corner. Look how much the car... Wow, it's just slid straight off the road.
Yeah.
Such is the turbulent air coming off the back. And then he gets... Of the McLaren, then he gets on the marbles on the outside and recovers it. So Max then... Look at Lewis is giving that full beans, isn't he? Tremendous.
Sergio Perez lost about 1.5 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo, just with that move to the extremities of the track.
Oh, it's doing my dad so much more good.
Oh, that's going to feed confidence. That'll be fed straight back to Lewis Hamilton. Oh, he's pitting.
Oh, he's pitting. So,
wow.
Mercedes committing then to the 2-stop strategy and pitting right now.
So, has that caught Red Bull unawares? He'll certainly have some more grip now.
What a strategy move by Lewis Hamilton and by Mercedes. They had 2 sets of the medium compound tyre at their disposal.
Hungary all over again here.
Yeah, Hungary 2019, where they've caught them unawares. They'll have to pit Verstappen now, surely. But he was less than a second behind, wasn't he? He'll gain that on the outlap. He's got a lovely clear track. Just Mick Schumacher a couple of corners ahead of him. So Hamilton then can get track position with this. We mustn't forget Bottas. He will still, Bottas will be in the lead if he doesn't pit. But yeah, that was not the news Max wanted to hear.
So what do Red Bull do now then? Hungary 2019, you voted for it, Sky viewers, as your race of the season when Lewis Hamilton charged down Max Verstappen on fresher tyres to take the lead of the race with just a few laps to go. Verstappen was left out there with a seemingly big enough margin. That margin disappeared, and they're not going to respond straight away. So our Red Bull, thinking history is not going to repeat itself twice here, we're going to stay out. Max has got a big enough gap, which at the moment, 23 seconds to Lewis Hamilton.
Scrub set of medium tyres have gone on Hamilton's car, and now then, he'll, of course, Bottas won't hold him up if he catches Bottas. And once again then, well, really basically now, surely, unless they're going to run out of tyres, hit the cliff as we used to talk about a lot on the Red Bull, they've really got nothing to lose, have they? Of just keeping going,
yeah,
surely, because if they pit, they'll lose track position.
Well, it's the surprise, isn't it? It's the Mercedes surprise. Pit Hamilton later at the end of the first stint than Verstappen, run him a shorter second stint, and then give him enough opportunity to get the lap times in to catch Verstappen at the end. His tyres will be that much fresher, and already, look, that 23-second gap has gone down to 22 seconds.
Yeah, so they've missed the moment then to get in and pit, really.
And that's 22% chance of a Hamilton overtake now. That predicted gap between Verstappen and Hamilton.
How far have I got to catch up? Currently 22 seconds. We've done it before.
That's a timely reminder there by Bono. Don't worry, don't panic. You have done it before.
22 laps, 23 including this one.
22 seconds between Hamilton and victory, or Verstappen and victory, and in the middle of them, Valtteri Bottas as well, who you would imagine, as his pace at the moment is just suffering a bit in comparison to Verstappen. Last 3 laps, been trying to keep an eye on it. He's been losing a few tenths. Bottas will be asked just to make way for his teammate because they're on completely different strategies. Hamilton just set the fastest lap of the race. No surprises there. He was 1.1 second quicker than Verstappen on lap 44. Going to be tight,
don't
isn't
go
it?
away. Do not go away.
If anyone's calling you in for Sunday lunch now, can you just ask them to keep it warm, plate it up, and we'll be with you at the end of 66 laps.
At this rate, he would catch us on the last lap.
Like I said, just plate up the Sunday roast. It can sit on the side for a while. Hamilton's on a flyer. Verstappen is on tyre preservation strategy just to keep it rolling to the end, and maybe to take a second Spanish Grand Prix win for the man in his 100th race for Red Bull, and returning to the track where he made his Red Bull debut 5 years ago to take victory in dramatic fashion. Outside of the top 3, Charles Leclerc running in 4th, comfortably ahead of Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. Sergio Perez, who lost time by going wide at turn 3, is starting to gain back on Ricciardo once more. He's within DRS range. Behind Perez, Carlos Sainz runs 7th for Ferrari, ahead of Esteban Ocon, who now has Lando Norris getting closer to him. The Alpine race pace not quite there at the moment. Fernando Alonso, you just saw going through your screen, is in 10th ahead of Gasly and Russell in 12th. Latifi, Stroll, Raikkonen, Vettel, Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Mazepin, and the only driver to retire so far, Yuki Tsunoda, with a loss of power. And that gap between Verstappen and Hamilton just under 20 seconds now.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds faster on that lap. So as we said, now really Red Bull they've got to stay out. They've got to stay out front, keep track position, hope that Lewis's tyres are not that great when he arrives on the gearbox and he starts sliding around again. But Max's tyres then, he came in on lap 24 his tyres are going to be 42 laps old at the end of the Grand Prix.
Sergio Perez has managed to get past Daniel Ricciardo through turn 3. They go, and Perez is ahead. Where did the move come from?
That's a long way back then.
Well, Daniel Ricciardo is normally the last of the late breakers. Perez might have broke a little bit later himself and got his own elbows out there.
Yeehaw! What a move! Look at that.
If he was
that was a long way back.
Yeah, if he was under the weather yesterday, that'll perk him up a little bit. That'll make him feel a whole lot better, Sergio Perez, who's got a little bit of time to gain now on Charles Leclerc. See how that pans out between now and the checkered flag at lap 66. What does Max Verstappen do here, Martin? He's been told that Lewis at this pace will catch him towards the end of the race, maybe on the last lap. Does he back off a little bit just to keep those tyres a bit fresher? More laps to battle Hamilton at the end, but the tyres might help him do it.
Yeah, he's got to go as fast as he can, using as little tyre as he can get away with, hasn't he? Navigate the back markers quickly, and yeah, it's a tough one. All he can do is just do what he's currently doing, Max Verstappen, and then hope the track position still wins out if Hamilton does get on his gearbox.
Ricciardo and Sainz pit and make their way back out onto the track. Ricciardo in 8th, Sainz in 9th.
See, this is where Red Bull need the other car again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if the other car was where it should be, then they wouldn't have the luxury of pulling this trick on Red Bull at Mercedes-Benz, because they know they can, Bottas on a different strategy, as you said, will get out of the way. If Perez was right in the mix, they just wouldn't have the privilege of doing that.
I don't see how we're going to make it to the end.
That's a slight touch of negativity creeping into the voice of Max Verstappen, powered by AWS, the battle forecast, striking distance in 10 laps. Hamilton has had a bit of traffic on this lap, but the gap, 17 seconds between himself and Max Verstappen. He's still managing to go faster and would have had a DRS advantage as he was lapping cars down the main straight.
Are they playing games on the radio? We know Mercedes do that with Lewis, don't they? All sorts of things come out. Lewis talks about his tyres being finished just before he pops in the fastest lap sometimes, but Max was already complaining that they had so much more grip than him.
Valtteri Bottas goes through and into turn 10. And there's his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Cars in between Stroll and Latifi, which will be lapped by Hamilton in a few moments' time. And there is race engineer for Max Verstappen, Giampiero Lambiase. Cool, calm, calculated figure in the paddock. Never gets flustered, never gets stressed. Perfect to be a race engineer. And I wonder just how calm he really is behind his mask at the moment as Gasly now pits for a second time.
Right rear a bit slow off and on again. So Hamilton was entering the pit straight just as Verstappen was leaving it. So that's the gap now, and it's down to 16.2 seconds from Verstappen to Hamilton. I don't know, is Max?
Well, last lap, 122.0 from Valtteri Bottas, 123.0 from Max Verstappen.
Yeah, Max in quite a lot of traffic, but that is basically, you could still pass Verstappen in this race, Valtteri, if you get your finger out.
And it's building to a dramatic climax here in Barcelona this afternoon. Lewis Hamilton going for a 6th Spanish Grand Prix win as we ride on board with Lando Norris. The car ahead of him is Esteban Ocon.
Something's happened to Ricciardo then, hasn't he? He's pitted the second time, hasn't he? Put him back in the pack.
He has. Nothing doing in terms of an overtake for Lando Norris there. Yep, Lewis Hamilton aiming to match Michael Schumacher's 6 wins here at the Circuit de Catalunya. Max Verstappen going for a 2nd win here in Barcelona and a 12th win in Formula One overall. That'll tie him, of course, on 12 wins with the former World Championship runner-up in 1981, Carlos Reutemann. Carlos seriously ill in hospital in Argentina. Our thoughts and our prayers going out to Carlos and to his family at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely a wonderful man. So let's hope for the best for Carlos Reutemann. And meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton 1.8 seconds faster on the previous lap. Oh, this is turning out horribly for Red Bull, isn't it? The slightly longer stop, they didn't react to Hamilton coming in, but he's leading the race, he has track position. But both Mercs are coming at him, and one's coming at him at a vast rate of knots in the hands of Lewis Hamilton.
It was 1.8 seconds quicker than Max Verstappen on the previous lap. Valtteri Bottas was 7/10 quicker on the previous lap. We're now on board with Carlos Sainz. The car ahead of him, his former teammate, Lando Norris. The car ahead of Lando Norris, his current teammate, Daniel Ricciardo. Can Sainz get past Lando Norris? Pulls out right at the last moment to the left-hand side, and into turn 1 he goes. To say adios, Lando. I'll take that place off you.
Well, in the distance we saw Lando letting his teammate through. They're on different tyre strategies, and that also then put Sainz right on his gearbox. Lando has only stopped once. Sainz, of course, now on the soft tyres. So Lando makes his move to defend quite late in the day, I must say. And then
I think Carlos saw it coming, though.
Cat-like reactions from Carlos Sainz to swing to the other side of the track.
Say cat-like reaction. Yeah, most cats I know.
So Lewis, the car behind, 4 seconds. He's on a different strategy, 21-1. So Lewis, 2.6 behind, is fighting for the win.
Well, most cats I know have been enjoying a nice sluggish Sunday afternoon on the sofa.
You got any good news for me?
Yeah.
I would think he's thinking,
black and white.
Hurry up, and let your teammate through as soon as he gets there.
It's interesting, Martin. Black and white flag shown for car number 4, Lando Norris, for track limits violations, or for that move just a little bit late there on Carlos Sainz, I wonder.
It would normally say track limits, wouldn't it? So that might be for the, the little bit of the late move there, which is that is horrendously dangerous. That's when you get airplane crashes. If you do move too late in defence.
15 laps to go. Verstappen leads Bottas, leads Hamilton, and that gap was 22 seconds after his pit stop. He's now down to under 11 seconds for Lewis Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas has been given the team order here. Don't hold Lewis up.
Yeah, Valtteri's right rear tyre looks a bit second-hand, but as we said, it's a passenger a little bit, relatively speaking, through some of these long right-handers. But he's not exactly jumping out of the way, is he?
Well, don't hold him up. There was an opportunity to let him past.
Yeah.
Valtteri has talked about this before. You know, I'm not overly keen on this whole team orders business.
What? Pardon? What do you say?
Radio a bit dodgy. I mean, look, Valtteri's not in contention necessarily for the win if he lets Lewis Hamilton past, as is going to happen.
He's going to turn
it's
in.
not.
Whoa! He was not willing there at all, was he?
Well, did Lewis Hamilton have to pull off a proper overtake there on Valtteri Bottas? Toto Wolff looks a bit impassioned in the Mercedes garage. And how much did that cost Hamilton in terms of time to Max Verstappen? He lost 4/10 to him in the middle sector on this lap. But Valtteri's talked about this in the past. You know, he's been asked to move out of the way, and he's done it, and he's complied, and he's kind of been saying publicly, no, I don't want to do that in the future. And that was very much the new Valtteri Bottas.
So the difference on that lap then was...
Max losses to Checo, turn 4, braking turn 10.
Yeah, but mate, I'm racing with Lewis behind me, trying to keep up with him, with his pace, and I'm my tyres, so what do you want me to do?
Just information.
Yeah, so your teammate's finding a bit of time here, and Max is saying, look, I'm trying to eke these things out to the end of the Grand Prix. But on that previous lap then, Crofty, so instead of gaining a second, he lost 3/10.
Yeah. And if you're predicted to catch the race leader on the last lap, that could make all the difference. We're watching Esteban Ocon, got Carlos Sainz on his tail while we watch that. Anthony Davidson at Sky Race Control.
Well, that was very interesting, guys, wasn't it? Because Valtteri, I expected him to get out of the way. I think we all did. But to everyone's surprise, I think Lewis actually had to make a proper overtake on his teammate there, which means, seeing as Bottas was holding that 10-second distance to Max, so just in an overtake here with Carlos, I think it gives Lewis maybe a bit of confidence that when he does, or if he does, catch the back of that Red Bull, it's the same speed as Valtteri, then I think it's game on.
See, there's you looking for a positive, where many people could be looking for a negative.
I'm just trying to hype
there.
the race up here. Like, you know, don't turn away. We've seen it. They've taken out Valtteri. He's coming in for the fastest lap, maybe.
Coming in for another pit stop for Valtteri Bottas. So all that holding up was just a little bit irrelevant in hindsight.
So he's going to be very close to Leclerc, isn't he, when he comes out of the pit lane?
Leclerc making his way down the straight at the moment, as right at the end of it, there goes Pierre Gasly round the outside of Sebastian Vettel. Gasly up into 14th place now and chasing after Kimi Räikkönen. Bottas came out behind Charles Leclerc. So close to him, and sadly for Valtteri Bottas, albeit now on the racier soft compound tyre.
Do Mercedes really want him to take the fastest lap point off Lewis Hamilton?
Well, that's another good point to make there. It's not Verstappen who's got the fastest lap at the moment, as we can watch Daniel Ricciardo's move on Esteban Ocon. Up into 6th place for Ricciardo.
His best day of the year, isn't it, for Daniel?
So.
Best, certainly strongest weekend. He's definitely getting on top of that Macca.
Just looking here, Martin, could Bottas be pitting to try and cover off Sergio Perez? He might pit late and go for a fastest lap as well, although Perez has still got the option to do that a little bit later with less fuel on board in this race. Lewis Hamilton, 1:20.6, what the fastest lap.
What that would have done, enables, wow, 1.9 seconds. I mean, he'll be all over him, won't he, way before the end of the race at that pace. But what that would allow to happen at the moment, if Red Bull want to admit defeat and secure 2nd place with Bottas pitting, depends how Max, so Max could now afford a stop, but he gives up track position, and they've got to hope then that when Hamilton arrives on the scene, his tyres are a little bit second-hand, but then Max's will be very second-hand.
So in last year's race here, the longest stint on the medium tyre, on that yellow striped medium tyre, was 37 laps. Kevin Magnussen was the man who put that stint in. Verstappen has to go 42 laps to the finish this afternoon. So to go 5 laps longer, and they've been new construction for the tyre, slightly heavier, but the same compound that Pirelli are using, to go 5 laps longer than Kevin Magnussen managed last year. Lando Norris is on George Russell's tail, as you can see. Your driver of the day. Vote is on now. There will be many possibilities, but Verstappen and Hamilton, I'm sure, dominating the voting so far.
Verstappen's got Ocon in front of him through turns 3 and 4. That's going to cost him his 4 tenths. I believe he'll be about 4 tenths down on Hamilton just in the first sector alone. So where Max may not make this move unless Esteban gets right out of the throttle. Max may, he does.
Yep.
Otherwise he was going to be down at turn 10 before he got past him.
Well, I'm sure Esteban Ocon knew that Max Verstappen was coming, and after some of the little fisticuffs at times and altercations between those two over the years, he didn't want to add to the role of dishonour. Let's head to Karun Chandok.
Well, the sun's come out here, Coffee. The track depth is starting to come up, which is going to add to Max Verstappen's woes as he tries to nurse his tyres along. This is amazing forward thinking, isn't it, by Mercedes? They thought ahead. Listen, we need to keep this option of a set of mediums. That's so important. Big shout out to Charles Leclerc. He's coming under pressure from Valtteri Bottas at the moment, but he's 42 seconds ahead of Ricciardo in that midfield battle. I know Ricciardo's on an extra stall, but it's a super drive once again from Charles Leclerc.
Absolutely. I mean, Valtteri's catching him at a rate of knots, but well, for Ferrari and Leclerc to start 4th and finish 4th, they will be mightily happy with that.
Yeah, be a good effort. And Sainz in the other Ferrari is within DRS range of Ricciardo now for 6th place too. A good measure.
So through the final chicane we go then, with Charles Leclerc and with Valtteri Bottas. Last year he was the only retirement in this race. Was Charles Leclerc. His electronics failed on lap 39. This time around he is been sat in third place. He's now going to be looking at fourth place as Valtteri Bottas sets a new fastest lap of this race and moves back into the podium places once more. But for Leclerc, 28 points after the first 3 races going into this one. He was 10 points better off than he was 12 months ago. Ferrari having a much more improved season. We watch once again how Bottas got past.
Yeah, on those fresh tyres, slipstream, DRS. There's nothing Leclerc could do. And then, of course, when Valtteri gets to the corner, he's got more grip, so he can brake later, turn in faster anyway. And then what's going to happen now then? It's that pit stop definitely took a bit of pressure off Max Verstappen in terms of was he going to end up third in this Grand Prix. But look now, Hamilton 3 seconds behind.
Well, we speculated about that.
May have less.
Well, he definitely will, because he's had those tyres on since he stopped at the end of lap 24.
Yeah.
Verstappen, the lead. 2.7 seconds. The gap is down to, look at that, that's the difference in the current tyre age between Verstappen and Hamilton. Valtteri Bottas has got the soft tyres on and has got the fastest lap as well on his way to what will be a 50th podium finish for Mercedes.
So, Verstappen or Perez?
Perez, got to be Perez, because he's just coming around the final corner now.
Yeah, indeed it is.
It would take more than a radio call to Max Verstappen to get him to pit now.
Yeah. But, you know, if they're going to lose second place, they don't know that, do they? None of us know that. But he has comfortably at the moment got a pit stop back to Bottas.
Again, if Lewis is passing him, is a full second outside your window. Keep the pace up.
Thanks, that's what I was trying to explain.
And that is the strategy thumbs up that Mercedes have put on this one. Valtteri Bottas, who in the early stages was very much out of the podium contention, they brought him back into this race again. And if Verstappen does make that stop, and if that one extra point is that valuable for him and for Red Bull, it brings Valtteri into play for second place as well. So they're basically forcing him to stay out, Mercedes and Max.
And look at George Russell and chasing down Fernando Alonso for a World Championship point. It would be his first World Championship point for the Williams team.
Well, the Alpine pace has disappeared in this race, and the lapping, last lap, 10th of a second faster, George Russell, than Fernando Alonso, who's only stopped once in this race, and Russell has stopped twice. We might get Simon Roberts on in a moment to talk about that, as Leclerc makes his pit stop from fourth place, now that he's been passed by Valtteri Bottas.
Actually, there's quite a queue behind Alonso.
And this is the battle for the lead. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. The gap now, as you can see on your screen, is half a second. When Lewis Hamilton came out of the pits from his second stop, the gap was over 22 seconds. Verstappen is struggling here. Hamilton is right on his tail. If you remember last time out, Hamilton passed Max Verstappen on his way to victory in Portugal. Is he going to do it again here in Spain 7 days later, getting showered in rubber from the rear of that Red Bull? Hamilton goes round the outside at turn 1, and the charge is complete. Hamilton, by making an extra stop, has been given the opportunity by Mercedes to go on and win the race, and he now leads on lap 60.
Surely Red Bull will now stop Verstappen, try to get a World Championship point for fastest lap. Defend, he's got a gap to Bottas if they want to do that. They've got nothing to lose now.
That's what we talk about, Lewis. Nice work.
Super work.
And that's how it's affected the Drivers' Championship as well. If it stays as it is, Hamilton will have a 15-point lead going into round 5, which of course is Monaco in a couple of weeks' time. You won't want to miss that. Hamilton round the outside at turn 1, and Max Verstappen just had no way of defending.
Yeah. Mercedes had the flexibility to catch Red Bull out. They used it, and it worked.
Certainly did.
And that's what they're talking about, isn't it? Hungary 2019.
Bottas in our pit window.
Negative. Box and pick and firm, please. Box, pick and firm, Max.
Just while we're watching this, you can see Fernando Alonso in your picture. right behind Alonso, Lance Stroll, Kimi Raikkonen, Pierre Gasly, and then George Russell now 14th, and he's losing out a bit, and I think struggling for a bit of grip out there because he's been passed by about 3 cars on this lap.
Yeah, he's had a difficult lap there, as young George. As you say, going back down the field, there's quite the queue behind Fernando Alonso. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But now Max Verstappen can get out and get some clear track. Be careful. There we go. There's the queue we're talking about. A DRS train that Valtteri Bottas.
This is going to be tight going into turn 1. Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. Stroll's come back out onto the track there, not in the required position by the FIA, so he's going to have to give that place back. Valtteri Bottas is now going to lap Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso as well. That was a bit of a kerfuffle going through there. On the inside, Kimi Raikkonen almost had a sniff of an opportunity of making a move on Lance Stroll. Gasly is going to stick to the rear wing of Kimi Raikkonen's Alfa Romeo if he possibly can. Sergio Perez sets a new fastest lap of the race. And the battle for the final points position, whole group of cars queuing up for this one. Sadly for George Russell, he's right at the end of the quintet at the moment, down in 15th place. DRS for many of them. There goes Gasly on Kimi Raikkonen. Into turn 10 we go. Sebastian Vettel takes the very long way around turn 10. And lost out a bit there as Gasly now round the outside of the right-hander at turn 11. He's got much better traction coming out of there, manages to get past Kimi Raikkonen. So he's in 12th, Raikkonen now 13th, 14th for Vettel, 15th for Russell. At the front of this is Fernando Alonso, who hasn't got DRS.
And the only man in the World Championship points. These guys are fighting like crazy. They're out of the points at the moment, but they smell a chance of stealing Fernando Alonso.
So here goes Lance Stroll again. This time he's got a little bit more pace on Fernando Alonso, and he can get the move done before they arrive into turn 1. Look how Alonso's struggling. Round the outside goes Pierre Gasly as well. The Spanish Grand Prix is not the favourite home race for Fernando Alonso this afternoon. He's now out of the points and under investigation, Alonso and Stroll, for that turn 1 incident, but it did look to me like Stroll gave the place back.
Well, he lost the place. Yeah, he did give the place back, but you're obliged to go round the cones on the left-hand side. So that's a transgression of the rules. Just hear the car rubbing, can't you?
So this is the previous lap. So he went over the bollard, didn't go in between, the speed bumps, and then didn't go to the left of that bollard.
And then did lift off the throttle and let him back through. He will, Aston Martin will say, look, we were pushed off the road. We were pushed into that situation, but he's normally obliged to go completely to the left around the 2 red and white bollards you can see.
Yeah, that might be a little explanation in the stewards' room a little later on, as Verstappen now sets the fastest lap of this race. He was the long-time leader, now seeing Lewis Hamilton, well, not seeing Lewis Hamilton, Hamilton's way off in the distance. He's a long way back, but taking the extra point where it's available for him. As Stroll loses out to Pierre Gasly for a point going into turn 1. Gasly had been moving past Raikkonen, then Alonso, who's pitted, has now picked up a World Championship points for 10th place, if he can hang on in there. 10th, of course, where he finished in Portugal, and to add to a 7th place in the Imola race.
Of course, he had a 5-second penalty earlier on, didn't he, for starting quite a way, actually, ahead of his start box.
You can see how that move emerged. Stroll tried to defend, then realised that there was no point doing that because Gasly was going to crash into him.
Yeah, looks a little bit naughty there from Lance. We saw Lando Norris getting a black and white flag for that, but yeah, you can't do the late moves. That's when cars start flying through the air and marshals are at risk alongside the track, not to mention, of course, the drivers.
Right, there's our race leader then, Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen has had to pit again. That's 2 stops each for the Mercedes and for the Red Bull, and the margin at the moment, some 21 seconds. Mercedes got their strategy absolutely spot on. We wondered if it was a one-stopper, why didn't they come in when Verstappen pitted earlier on in the race? They could have had track position, but I think they knew that the tyres weren't going to hang on the way that they would have wanted. And they've made the right call again.
Yeah, that slightly long stop for Red Bull when the left rear wasn't in town early enough, and then not reacting to Hamilton cost them the race.
Yeah. Mind you.
Hamilton's pit stop, I should say. Mercedes bringing Hamilton in again.
Yeah, should they have pitted Verstappen when Mercedes pitted for the second time? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, he's got the driver of the day at the moment by 1% from Lewis Hamilton. That will be of no crumb of comfort, I think, for Max Verstappen, who's seen Hungary 2019 repeat itself here in Barcelona in 2021. So, there's that fastest lap, of course. Valtteri Bottas down in third, at 10 seconds behind Verstappen. It's going to be for the 4th consecutive year that Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas have stood on the podium together here at the circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia.
Yeah, it'll be the 16th time overall as well, did you say?
No, I didn't say it, no.
That'll be the 16th, a record. Already a record at 15 for that particular trio on the podium. But we've had a lot of fun getting there, haven't we, with those this year, that's for sure.
Sometimes it's not about the destination, it's how you get there in life. And Verstappen, big lock up there, would have liked to have found a different way of getting to the podium this afternoon, and one that might have just put him up to the top step. And a season where it's so tight between Verstappen and Hamilton, Red Bull and Mercedes, you know, these are the days that Mercedes, if they win the championship, will look back and go, yeah, that's where we really made it count.
Bottas is on a quick one again, very fastest man of the entire Grand Prix in the first sector, although it's only 22 seconds, but keep an eye out for the middle sector. An 18.1 is a pretty handy lap time, and Bottas middle sector is probably not going to be good enough, but that's a good time to try to beat that Max has set there for that extra World Championship point.
Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton on his final lap, lap 66 out of 66. What a weekend it has been for him. The first driver in Formula One history to take 100 pole positions, and he's going to convert that into what would be his 59th win from pole position. And what a charge they put on Max Verstappen. Had the faith in his team that they got the right strategy, and he delivered the lap times. And when he arrived at Verstappen, well, Verstappen had no grip to keep a grip on top spot.
And Bottas was 1.3 seconds shy of taking fastest lap.
Ayrton Senna won 5 consecutive Monaco Grand Prix. He holds the record for the most consecutive wins at a single venue. Lewis Hamilton is going to join him in that record. It's another record-breaking race on a record-breaking weekend here in Spain for Lewis Hamilton. It's his 6th Spanish Grand Prix win. It's his 5th in a row. It's 100 poles, and it's the checkered flag as the winner of the Spanish Grand Prix for Lewis Hamilton, who strengthens his grip then at the top of the table. And it's high fives all round at Mercedes for a job well done. Red Bull, they thought they might have had the pace. Certainly in qualifying it was close, but the margin of victory in the end was 16 seconds between Hamilton and Verstappen. It's back to the drawing board. It's Milton Keynes once again, and for Valtteri Bottas, it's a 50th podium finish for Mercedes-Benz as he comes home in 3rd place. The battle still going on behind. Gasly has been racing through the field. He's going to try and get Esteban Ocon towards the end of this race as well. Ocon trying to hang on where his teammate Fernando Alonso failed just a few laps ago, and Alonso having to pit once more as his tyres were just running out. Leclerc finishes 4th then, ahead of Sergio Perez. Great performance from Charles Leclerc as he crosses the line now. Perez made a decent recovery from 8th on the grid to finish 5th. Daniel Ricciardo should just hold off Carlos Sainz for 6th and for 7th as well. And for Norris, Ocon and Gasly, it's points for them too.
Get in there, Lewis. What a great drive, man. You made that strategy work beautifully.
Lewis, it's James. Well done, mate. Impressive drive.
Thanks, James. Great job with the strategy. Definitely have to work for it, but that was great. Absolutely great. Well done.
Yeah, Lewis, perfect combination, great strategy and bold, and great driving. Congratulations.
Congrats, Toto. That's you.
And that's the key word, combination.
Yeah.
That was the might of Mercedes and the brilliance of Lewis Hamilton combining, and they caught Red Bull off guard.
they found a winning formula, Mercedes, and it's not always the same formula week after week, but it does tend to often be the very same result as well. Verstappen picks up the extra points for the fastest lap, and on days like this, well, they'll take every single point that's coming their way. At one stage, he was looking like he was going to gain on Hamilton by about 8 points in the championship, and suddenly swung the other way. Hamilton taking a 6 points extra lead at the top.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. We're just too slow, so it's impossible to keep them behind.
That was a good effort, Max. Yeah, I don't know what else we could have done there, but good effort.
Shows you how strong the wind is down the main straight. Just blew over the little sign there. Something's turned around, something's swung around in the wind a bit since we left Bahrain. Martin, after the testing, Mercedes have worked hard, developed well, found the strategy, and that's 3 wins to 1 now.
Yeah, they've worked out what the problem was with their car. It looked horrendous in the Bahrain test, didn't it? And they've just made it better and better and better.
Men and women in this team, and you guys just continue to impress me. And look what we can continue to achieve together. Thank you so much for the hard work. Let's keep pushing.
Our message from Lewis Hamilton to the team. The 1,000+ workforce at Brackley, where they make the chassis, and Brixworth, where they make the engines. 98 wins now for Lewis Hamilton. He's got the 100 poles in the bag. Surely the 100th win is but a few races away on this sort of evidence.
Extraordinary. Yeah, Red Bull really missed having a second car in the mix there. It meant they were sitting ducks, really. And Mercedes getting quite bold, aren't they, with their strategies.
Oh.
And that's what you call pick up on the tyre. They go and pick up, when the tyres cool down, you pick up a lot of discarded rubber and adds a little bit of weight. Strictly speaking, if they want to, scrutineers can take that all off. But it adds a bit of weight for the weighbridge.
He'll do it. Is for sure. And big congratulations from his crew for Lewis Hamilton. A 6th Spanish Grand Prix victory, 5th consecutive Spanish Grand Prix victory. Had to work harder for this one than he has done in recent years. And for once, actually lost the lead of a Spanish Grand Prix. Let's see what Max Verstappen feels about that race. Jenson Button is down asking the questions.
Max, that must be a tough pill to swallow, that one. You looked like you had it in the bag.
In a way, I could see it coming, you know. Already at the end of with the softs, he was faster. Then when we put on the mediums, he was clearly had a lot more pace. He could just stay within 1 second. So there was not much we could have done. So yeah, they went for another stop, and then I knew it was over because I was already struggling with the tires, and you could see it every lap. He was just getting closer and closer. So a bit of a sitting duck.
Yeah, the first pit stop, you guys seem to do a fantastic job of getting in. Obviously, it was a slightly longer stop, but they didn't jump straight after. So it looked like you guys were doing a fantastic strategy. And then the second time round, they were able to jump just before you. It's always tricky, isn't it, when it's the car behind that jumps first. You don't know whether to jump behind them or to do a different strategy, which is obviously always your plan, to do a one-stop.
Yeah, I mean, also when you're in the lead with the cars behind, with traffic and stuff, you don't want to pit in traffic. But of course, it makes it a lot easier when you just have a clear advantage, you know, more pace in the car. So for us, of course, if we would have jumped for another stop, I'm not sure if we would have caught up again, just clearly lacking pace. But nevertheless, you know, I tried everything I could.
Yeah, and to be fair, this circuit's always been a Mercedes track, hasn't it? So you guys to be so close in qualifying and so close to the victory, it must bode well for the next few races.
Yeah, it does, but it shows that we are not there where we want to be. You know, we still have to push hard and catch up because at the moment we are a little bit slower. But still, nevertheless, compared to last year, I think it's been a big jump forwards.
Thanks, Max. Hey Valtteri, tough race out there. How would you you know, look at that race and try and find some positives from it?
Yeah, I think what made it more tricky for me, I lost the place to Charles on lap 1 out of turn 3. I didn't see him actually, so I think he chose a better line through turn 3 and got me, and then you know, I was stuck behind him for a while and compromised the race a bit. Otherwise, I think the pace wasn't too bad, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but at least could make it to the podium.
Was there another strategy you could have done with your car to take yourself back into the fight a little bit more?
I think it's just small details today. It was, you know, lap 1, turn 3. I think otherwise the pace is there, and as a team, you know, we're still scoring solid points, but not perfect points, and so yeah, there's work to do. And Monaco is obviously going to be quite a unique track, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, you look like you got a fantastic start down into turn 1, but you were just blocked. These cars are so big, and with Max getting a good start as well, there was nowhere really to go for you.
Yeah, actually there wasn't really much space, and it's so close between, you know, the first 2 cars. So.
Hard luck.
Thanks.
Cheers. Lewis, this has always been your circuit. I remember being your teammate, it was always impossible to get anywhere near you around here, and you've proved it once again. What a fantastic way to win this Grand Prix.
Thank you so much. Well, first, I just want to acknowledge all the fans that are here, because this is one of the first race this year at least, that we've had people come, which is great to see. I've even seen there's the British flag out there, which is we haven't seen for a long time, and I feel great after this. I feel like we can go again. Obviously the training's working and paying off. Such a close start. Obviously there was a lot of rubber down on the right hand side, and the Red Bull obviously got a great start, and then after that just hunting, and I was so close for so long, and I didn't think in doing that I was going to be able to make the tires last, but I just managed to just keep them in somehow, and it's a long way to come back from 20 odd seconds back. But it was a good gamble, really great strategy by the team.
Yeah, obviously the pace was fantastic on that tyre, but you must be also so thankful, as you said, that the team were able to come up with that great strategy to get past the Red Bull.
Yeah, well, it had been the plan all weekend for us to make sure we had 2 mediums to be able to do a 2-stop. Even though a 1-stop potentially looks better, I know from experience here that a 1-stop is very, very hard to pull off. And as soon as we had the pace that we had, I knew as soon as I could get past him, if I could. And I was about to kind of have a shot at getting past him before I pitted right at the end. And I was really conflicted. Like, do I come in, or do I ignore the call and stay out? And obviously I did what the team asked, and naturally that's because there's a great trust between us. But just a remarkable job by everyone in this team through and through. And yeah, what a day.
Yeah, you guys definitely proved why you're multiple F1 world champions today. You know, you're on the back foot from the start, but you came through.
Thanks so much, man.
Congrats.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Then for Lewis Hamilton, there's an important point he made there about the trust and the faith that he has in his team. Concentrate on the drivers. Obviously, they're the gladiators, Martin, that go into battle week after week, but it is a team sport, Formula One.
Absolutely. Yep, they've created that competitive package together. And as Lewis is explaining in that feature, before the race starts, you know, the attention to detail, the minute stuff they go into. But it's a bit like when Ross Brawn used to ask Michael Schumacher to give me 20 qualifying laps to make this strategy work. And, you know, Manny Core, they stop 3 times and everybody else stop once or whatever. Do something different. And you can do that if you're confident that your driver can pump the laps in and not fly off the road.
And whilst it all might be smiles at the team debrief this evening for victory and for 3rd place, I wonder if they'll talk a bit about the moment where Valtteri Bottas didn't want to yield out of the way and not hold up his teammates. That was a different Valtteri Bottas I think we saw in that moment.
Yeah, but it cost Hamilton 1.5 seconds. I mean, in the end, it's cost him nothing because he's won the race by nearly 16 seconds. So there's that element to it, but I'm pretty sure Toto will be, we asked you not to hold Lewis up, and you held him up. Could have cost us a victory, but it sort of indicates that Valtteri's taking a different stance, and maybe relationships are not that strong for Valtteri and Mercedes.
3rd place for Valtteri in the race, and 3rd place for Valtteri Bottas in the Drivers' Championship. Now he moves ahead of Lando Norris, who finished 8th in the race here this afternoon. A 50th podium finish for Valtteri Bottas as a Mercedes driver. For Max Verstappen, not the win this afternoon, a 46th podium for him and a point for the fastest lap as well. For Lewis Hamilton, win number 6 here in Spain. He continues to reign supreme at this circuit and at the top of the Drivers' Championship. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the head of Ineos, on the podium as well. And the points haul for Mercedes this afternoon moves them now ahead of McLaren in the all-time point scoring standards. They needed just 2 points to go into second on that all-time list. Well, they got a first and they got a third for their troubles. 40 points in total. Our trophy presentation party below the podium.
stop.
Yeah, I know what's happened.
Yeah, it's okay.
Blue flags. Michael, this guy makes us lose the position.
Great job with the strategy. Yeah, definitely have to work for it, but that's great.
I can go.
Hey, Sonny, 5 minutes.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling. Way down inside, honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. Oh, want a whole lot of love. Want a whole lot of love.
Sonny, hey, BMW guys are over there bitching about brake trouble.
Thanks, Molly. You're a superstar.
I'll see you out there.
Turn my back for 1 minute.
It's all going to shit, Sonny. Pat had to ease off. We dropped down to 7th. You can just hold position overnight. Hopeful Sunrise catches us a break.
Lewis Hamilton has left Mercedes to go to Ferrari. He's been the backbone of Mercedes. They won 6 world championships.
Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix!
He's the GOAT. He's Lewis Hamilton.
Timing.
The question is, how do you replace the most successful driver that this sport has ever known?
Ciao mamma.
Ciao. Come stai?
Bene.
Com'è andata la verifica?
Bene, bene, è andata bene.
Perfetto.
Andrea Antonelli, F1 driver for Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team.
He's just a kid.
There's so much pressure on him.
7 years ago, he was 11 years old. Lewis is there in the Mercedes gear and he's wearing all his Mercedes stuff. He's a child, mate.
I'm super excited.
What, for your first season?
No, because finally, I luckily have passed my driving test.
Ciao, Ah no,
Te non devi guardare me, io
Sì, ma lo so, ma io guardo anche te.
My mom doesn't have to drive me around anymore, so I can drive myself at the speed limit, which is hard. I mean, man, going at 30 kph is boring. What are you laughing at?
Mate, it feels mega. Oh my god.
This year, you've got 6 rookies in the field. Anything can happen.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to pose you individually if that's cool. Timmy, can you move a little bit that way, please?
Not only that, almost every team have got an entirely new lineup. That's a massive change.
Lewis, can you shuffle slightly to your right? Yeah, that's nice. 3, 2, 1.
And the question on everyone's lips is how will Lewis do?
Stop talking to me while I'm in freaking battle, man. Jeez.
Fucking hell. All these young driver is more emotional.
You can only fuck me over so many fucking times.
Gimme, are you okay?
I was crying.
Sometimes you want the stick and beat everybody in the head.
Look at him.
Yeah, but...
In a season of new beginnings, who will survive the chaos?
It's like a pool full of sharks.
Fucking hell!
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh my god.
Clear for takeoff.
Here we go. Oh, wow, that's amazing.
It's very exciting meeting new spokespeople, especially cute ones.
Some will rise,
We kick their ass!
some will fall.
Fuck!
One of the most brutal driver switches in history.
There are people who are willing to do anything. They're trying to get Horner out.
It's in times of adversity you see who your enemies are. I won't roll over.
And when the dust settles, will a new king sit on the throne?
You are free to race.
Max, he's like that bad guy in that horror movie. He keeps coming back.
I hope you're ready. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Battery's dead.
Let's set some decadent old tombs right smack in the middle of the hall back there.
Whoa! Keep it level, please. No need for any of that stuff. Oh no. Not a fan of this. Not a fan at all.
What have you put in here?
Truth serum.
2025, here we come.
We're back.
I think we're the longest standing driver lineup on the grid now.
Who's had the best results together? We did.
McLaren are world champions!
Papaya on top! What a he's been.
You're now the one to beat.
Now the one to beat. This year, let's do it again.
Formula One is celebrating its 75th anniversary. For the first time in history, every Formula One team will launch their car, introduce their drivers in the same place. It'll be really interesting because F1 teams love to one-up each other.
Oh, look, there's Alpine on the river. Where? Right below us. Their budget probably only covered rowing. Heading to the O2, baby. Chopper.
Chasing us. Come on, faster, faster. Floor it.
So, you've got the big seat now.
I'm looking forward to the O2. I know that at one point we're going to be on stage, but I think it's going to be pretty cool and it's awesome to be a part of for my first year.
What's that big tower or like pyramid looking thing?
The shard. So if you go for a fart but you actually poop yourself. Shard. Shard.
Anyone know where the O2 is? Been on the underground before?
No.
Super efficient. That's how we roll. Alrighty.
What do you think?
I think I've looked better, to be honest. I've just woken up. We need to go here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Vamos. Everything's changed this season because I've now got, an 18-year-old as my teammate, Kimi. Are these cameras with you? No. Yeah, you need to hold on, mate. You've definitely not been on the tube before. It's like having a new baby brother. I still can't believe he's born in 2006. Like, anyone born in the 2000s, I see as, 8 years old. All right, we're jumping out here.
We're right.
Watch out, mate.
Fucking in.
They're all like Verstappen, they just, fucking smash you off.
George, a good tour guide?
Well, he knows the place very well.
The rule in England, to stand on the right and you walk on the left.
Yeah?
Yeah, it says on the signs. Like F1 branded everywhere.
Oh, there he is.
Nando, he's back.
Please welcome your host for F1 75 Live, Mr. Jack Whitehall!
Good evening, London! You know, your sport is ridiculously minted when you book the O2 for an event to announce the colour of a load of cars that are all exactly the same as last season.
I'm kind of excited to see what everyone has done, though. It's like it feels like X Factor. You know?
Total war, please. Thank you. Watch your back, guys. Watch your back.
Lewis Hamilton coming through. Watch out, guys. Watch your back, guys. Ferrari coming through. They're the big dogs.
Last one for the day. It started off with such a low.
It'll be interesting. I want to see it.
You had a good break?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. It was short.
Yeah.
You got a kid coming, man.
Yes.
You excited?
Yeah.
Nervous?
Well, I think it's going to be quite...
at the end. You have to watch it come out.
Wow, I'm not sure. Maybe from that side.
Yeah, I think I'll be the same. I was dating a girl and her sister was having a kid and I was there outside the operating room so I could hear them screaming.
Oh, dear.
I nearly passed out because it wasn't even my kid.
Ah, here we are.
Missed it.
Yes.
Well, it kind of felt like the first day at school.
I mean, your hair dried out or what? No. No? It just stays like that?
Well, I put product in it.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of bleach?
I got a perm.
Really?
Especially this year because at school normally you always get to know new kids.
You have a good winter? Yeah.
We have 6 rookies starting a season at the same time. We haven't seen this for 15 years. It could be utter carnage.
Should I put the team here? What's the name of the team?
It's on your shirt.
Yeah, we're talking to them right now.
That was a squeaky one.
He was ready, that one.
Sauber has Gabriel Bortoleto, 20 years old, from Brazil, Formula 3 champion, Formula 2 champion. Definitely one to watch.
Gabriel, your first season in Formula 1.
It's amazing to see all this crowd.
That's us. Our video is starting now.
Let me hear it for Isaac real quick.
When we look at what the Racing Bulls are doing this year, signing up Isaac Hadjar, really impressive in his junior career and has always shown an incredible burst of pace.
At the moment, I still don't have a clue how I'm going to perform.
See you on the track. Good night, London.
Relax, it's quite chilled.
Jack Doohan from Australia didn't win the title in Formula 3 or Formula 2, but he's the first Alpine Academy driver to be promoted to a Formula 1 seat.
Jack, first time F1 driver, how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. Just want to say good evening and thank you all so much for coming.
It's what I've dreamt of all my life. So to be finally doing it, living it, it's a great feeling.
You think we can take it on stage? But it's not even warming you up, mate. Do you want me to hold it?
No, it's warming my face.
Yeah? Okay.
I'll try and put on a brave face, but I am a bit nervous to go out in front of that many people.
You have 10 seconds.
Ollie Behrman, 19 years old, from Great Britain. He's part of the Ferrari Driver Academy, highly regarded, and looking to prove himself this year driving for Haas.
The car looks fast. Hopefully it's as good looking.
As fast as it looks.
For the rookies, the first year is brutal.
It's scary.
So if you cannot deal with truth, it's not your place.
It's a lot different, the car?
It's a big difference to get into,
Really?
into a different car. Yeah.
Also, the steering wheel is a lot happier.
And he's like the Italian accent. So he's like, you know, it's like.
You know, having all the other drivers and some of my heroes as well, it's quite surreal because I've been always used to see them on TV.
It is now time to introduce a very special moment for a very special team.
Oh my God, it's red.
I was going to say the same thing.
Looks like someone spilled some fucking yogurt over him. This is it. The moment we've all been waiting for. The reveal.
I'm risking my.
The goat. The goat.
How you doing, London? You good?
Charles, what would be your word for the season?
If I have to choose one word, I was going to say fulfillment.
Fulfillment?
Fulfillment?
There's no way he's come up
Someone
with
just
that
told
on
him
his
to
own.
say that.
It was going over in his head before he came out there.
Please, again, make some noise for Fred, Charles and Lewis!
Lewis moving to Ferrari was the key that unlocked the door to the mayhem of silly season and all of the driver moves that we saw for 2025.
This year will be good for everyone. It needs to be a good fight.
Ready for us? Yeah.
Already? Ready, guys.
Of course, there are question marks for Mercedes. Replacing Lewis Hamilton with a school kid. You know?
It's gonna be fun.
Man, I'm freezing. Welcome to England, mate.
Lewis stepping out means new opportunities. Now we can put someone in the car that has the real potential in becoming a great one. To fight a McLaren for championships.
Man, I'm not used to this, eh?
Exciting stuff. I need to do a kind of warm-up, you know? Pre-session warm-up. I'm very, very nervous. I'm quite a shy person, and there are gonna be a lot of people.
Kimi Antonelli, Italian, a young driver on Mercedes books.
Definitely is a lot to get used to.
It's incredible to see so many of you here tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be where I am today.
Mercedes decided to skip him past Formula 3 and straight into Formula 2 and brought him into Formula 1 at the first possible opportunity. Is it too much too soon?
Liam Lawson is technically still a rookie because he has not raced a full season. He does have more experience than his fellow rookies, but the expectations on him from Christian Horner and Red Bull are extraordinary.
How are we going?
Very good.
I'm always ready for a fight. Losing in the Constructors' Championship,
One more for luck.
that hurts. Max won the Drivers' World Championship last year, but the one that means the most to the teams is the Constructors' Championship, because that is how the money is distributed in Formula One. But last season,
we're out, Checo.
our second driver, Checo, his form just nosedive.
If we keep going like this, we're fine.
You know, we can't just be a one-car team. We need both cars up there scoring points.
So when the doors open, the car goes and we walk with you.
Yeah.
And then you're going to tap us and we're going to walk to the...
Yes, straight.
Okay.
Yeah. And the people behind us will just be dancing, going crazy.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to dance as well, I mean, like Liam, go for it. Go for it. Please. It's your Magic Mike moment, you know.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Olá. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
You are supposed to do that, though.
Liam Lawson, driver for Oracle Ripper Racing.
Okay, Liam. It's looking good. Liam, when he got the opportunity last year in our junior stable, the Racing Bulls, he grabbed it, and I was very impressed with that.
What's 0.5?
So, can I jump ahead of you? Yeah, fucking. I think Liam Lawson just gave Perez the finger. Liam's got that racing DNA, that racing spirit that sets us apart from our competitors. He's the man. McLaren are the team to beat this year, but don't underestimate the opposition.
1 second, Red Bull is up now? Yeah. Where's Christian? Yeah. Isn't Christian with us?
No, he's basically doing his speech at the intro.
Please welcome team principal Christian Horner.
Well, it's fantastic to be here in the O2 anyway, so I hope you're all having a good evening.
Red Bull!
Max winning his 4th consecutive World Championship. When you become a serial winner, the crowd and the audience, they don't want to see that. In Formula One, there's this element of pantomime. You know, we're now like the Kardashians on wheels, but I'm way past even caring what other people think.
I think we're gonna get a lot worse. No, you're not. I don't give a fuck, man.
So is somebody gonna show us the way?
To go up there and come sit down next to your team, your sponsors, that might be pretty uncomfortable.
It didn't help that he went up there on stage like, I'm gonna rock the room, and then the room rocked him.
It's like you have to be the pantomime villain, though. You know, the pantomime, you have the villain. It was good.
We are different, and that's what makes us who we are. This isn't a popularity contest, it's Formula One, and you're judged on the result sheets at the end of the day. It's easier to be the hunter rather than the hunted. And of course, for us, anything outside of total domination, is not good enough.
All the pre-season chatter, it stops now. The beginning of the Formula One World Championship here in Australia. Round 1 of 24.
Hi! It's quite a high number, this. Yeah. First Grand Prix this year is returning back to the hometown of Oscar Piastri.
What a beautiful day.
And of course, as a driver, I'm here to kind of go out and do my own thing. I want to pass it again. I don't have it. He hasn't got his pass on him. He should be able to go in. He's got to drive the car. But he's the F1 driver. Thank you. Alright, can Oscar try to set me up? It's a fresh start for all of us, we've got different teams with different drivers, so it's like a different dynamic, and you don't know what to expect.
It's fun to have something new.
I've done it many times, I've changed teams 5 times,
So it
keeps reminding me how tough it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
catch you later, man.
Wow.
Qualifying is absolutely key because it sets the grid for the race on Sunday. The fastest driver in qualifying takes pole position, which means they start from the front of the field for the race itself. The stopwatch doesn't lie. It's time to show everyone what you've got.
No, I mean, Formula One, I would be judged only by my performance. No, it's the real deal.
Let's not forget the gamble that the teams have taken on these rookies. The pressure on these kids from the very first moment is so vast.
My main goal is to be fast. I don't want to disappoint my team.
Young drivers, yeah, they get time on the simulator, but they don't get real world, real time in the car. They're not testing in between races.
Yeah, I kind of fucked up in that.
20 years ago.
Really attack.
That is good. The pressure is of course very high. Everything that you've done prior to that is kind of forgotten.
I have nerves for sure. I have that feeling that I need to perform.
First qualified of the year, I always have nerves.
Ready to go.
Red Bull, they're used to winning. They've done a lot of it. But Liam is very experienced in Formula One, and Lando and Oscar are very hungry.
Going into qualifying, It's crucial to get a good start, to put the pressure on McLaren to say, look, you're not going to have it all your own way. With Liam, in terms of race experience, he probably had more than other rookies coming in this year. Toto has invested in a 18-year-old. It's a big ask on that kid. Mercedes without Lewis Hamilton could be pretty bland.
Kimi, he's just natural, They will continue to develop.
I'm really excited to see Kimi on his first laps of his Formula One career. Now it's time to prove that investing in him was the right thing to do.
Okay, Kimi. 15 seconds to green light.
Andrea, pronto?
Dai, siediti.
Arrivo. Da bambino stai diventando un uomo. Rimarrai sempre il mio figlio.
My dad and my mom, they've been the two closest person to me.
E dove hai lo zaino?
My family, they're really supportive, and that's why I wanna really make sure that I make the best out of it.
Mi raccomando.
Sto attento. Ciao mamma.
Ciao.
Because I'm very young, I have a lot to show and a lot to prove.
Okay, good. So clear. Ready, good to go. So all clear behind. So let's pick up the pace. They need to push a little harder than expected. And just be careful. Just stick as close to the good track position as you can. Pick up the pace. Just stretch P16. And we'll box.
We could have done better on that one.
Alright, let's watch.
14th for Jack Doohan.
What a shot.
Difficult start for the rookies.
No. I'm going to give up.
None of them into the top 10 so far. Next, Liam Lawson in the Red Bull.
I'm excited. My whole life, it's been my dream to be a Red Bull Racing Formula One driver. And this journey's properly started. I'm going to make most of this opportunity.
You know, a new season is a new dawn. There's an anticipation and excitement to get back on top.
Keep pushing. You do what you need to do.
Okay, we have live, but I'm okay.
Box.
That's it for Liam Lawson. He'll start at the back.
How's it out that pace?
Yeah, I've got forward, okay. Watch when you're ready.
This is Lewis Hamilton into turn 11.
I don't know what happened there, mate.
Yeah, half one.
It's Lando Norris who takes the opening pole of the year.
Amazing work. Let's keep it up, mate.
Then it's Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
And it's an all-papaya front row to start the year. The world champion team on top.
This is so much fun.
Well done! All right, time to break some hands.
my years being teammates with Lewis, when things are all aligned for him, I mean, he's unbelievable. And now he's left Mercedes. People thought and expected he would be the one to do something special. His performance today, I don't think it's anything that he or the team would have hoped for.
It's definitely been a challenge. It's been a lot of work to really adapt to this car. So we've got work to do.
That was a bit of a fucking rough one, wasn't it? He started well, but then faded.
To qualify on the back row, is not what is expected of a Red Bull racing driver. Well, Liam, regardless of experience levels, it's down to him to deliver. In Formula One, you've got nowhere to hide.
And yeah?
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, I was just dumb.
Hi Liam, how hard is it for you to punch up over this right now?
It's definitely tricky. I just made a mistake, and that basically screwed up everything. So obviously not a good start, but I shouldn't be making mistakes either. I just fucked it one off.
Liam has got his work cut out, demonstrating that he deserves that second seat. Because if he can't deliver, even in that first race, Red Bull are not going to be cutting him a whole lot of slack.
Okay, it was fine with all off.
I'm quite disappointed. I'm getting quite hard on myself. It's not the way I wanted to start my Formula 1 career.
Yeah, Kimi. Don't worry. It's gonna be better. Of course, disappointed with the result. Kimi's qualifying was a difficult one. We just need to protect Kimi, taking pressure off, lowering the expectations, so he can focus entirely on performance. We're gonna put our arm around him, make sure that Sunday goes better.
Who is there?
Mark, did you rest well?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. And how are you feeling?
I would say I've been struggling, to find my rhythm. But it felt like nothing was coming together. And also I started to put a bit of extra pressure on myself and, just driving super tense in the car and not delivering. So it hasn't been easy.
I think it was tough, but we need to keep that mindset of learning and growing and maturing, remaining curious, asking questions, trying to learn all the details.
I've been for the first time last year in F2, and now I find myself already in Formula 1, which I didn't expect to get here so quickly. I'm realizing that it's all real. To be honest, it's a tough one. It's been more stressful than what I was thinking. I really want to keep my seat for a long time. I know I cannot afford any, mistakes.
Today, a shift in weather is on the way for Melbourne. Severe thunderstorms developing, heavy rain, damaging gusty winds, and will promote very, very dangerous conditions as a cold front moves through.
It's very sketchy. There's a storm coming, and the time is now for the opening race of the year.
Windier. If one of us has a crash, this is okay.
We go at crazy speeds, and when you hit the brakes, it's just very difficult to manage in an F1 car in those conditions.
I feel for the rookies a bit. It's a street track. The grip's going to be extremely low, visibility is really low. A good start to
Formula One rookie season. I think it'll be so slippery here in the way.
Me, I did 420 Grand Prix starts, and you still have the stress. You're driving a 300 kilometers hour car and with another 19 drivers, 1 meter apart, and if you're a rookie, you have this for the first time.
We must be careful, even in a straight line, the car's like that. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
I think every driver wants to win their home race. If I had to pick one on the calendar, yes, that one would be it.
Optimist.
I feel a bit afraid going into my first Grand Prix because sometimes unexpected things can happen. You don't want to just lose control.
I don't think it's about how quick you are today, it's about how smart you are. You're going to get lucky or unlucky.
With Liam, it's important for him to bounce back quickly.
No, I'm not giving up on this one yet.
15 years ago, the last time we started a race on wet weather tyres here.
It's gonna be a tough race. You don't wanna crash.
It isn't easy. Just constantly thinking about what's about to happen.
It is time for the formation lap. Before the race starts, they'll be looking at the extent of the pretty treacherous track conditions.
No, track slippery.
The rain is a nightmare.
Okay, now down for 2 hours the tires.
I'm stressed about not living up to the expectations. I'm scared not to deliver and let down everyone.
It's quite well. Keep it steady. Can we get going?
No. Isaac Hajar out before we even get going. That is absolutely brutal.
The walk of shame. I feel like my career. Now it's over for me before it's even started.
Okay, Kimi, ready for start. Kimi Antonelli makes his debut 16th on the grid.
There's quite a lot of emotion. It's my first time driving around another 19 cars in F1, and it's super slippery out there. With those white lines, cold tires, it's scary. You could end badly.
Get ready. Hamilton begins life at Ferrari in 8th.
Okay, Liam. Pre-start.
Copy. Liam Lawson will be starting in 18th from the pit lane.
A little bit nervous. The goal is to have a strong race, but it's going to be extremely tough. It's hard to come through from the back.
P2 Max, good job.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Still pretty tricky in terms of visibility. Jack Doohan, the rookie into the wall on the opening lap.
Jack, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Fucking hell.
Oh shit, he's in the wall.
It's not just the rookies.
What position am I now?
P8.
Down slow.
It's really hectic. I think Kimmy's just be careful, the car's off already.
Yeah, they're quite slippery.
Just look at the wet patches where you get one.
You get this butterfly effect in the stomach. Not gonna lie. Taking a bit more risk just to try and find the limit.
Oh man, that was close.
So just be careful. Car hit Hulkenberg.
Let me know when it comes from the back.
Everyone makes mistakes. I have to reset, focus.
Okay, Kimmy. Let's go.
We're really slow on the
A tidy pass for Antonelli. He's moved up to 12th position.
Nice one, Kimmy. I like that.
Thank you.
Feels like the wind is picking up. The rain could get pretty intense. You okay, Canada?
Yeah.
So like
There's more rain building up.
stand up far ahead.
Copy.
It has been 0.6 behind.
It's raining again. Yeah, the tires are fucked.
Good job.
Lando, Oscar is now behind you.
Yeah.
15 laps to go here. McLaren are currently set to take maximum points.
Oscar is 0.7 behind you. I hit a quick patch. I'm fucked. Gap still 1.7. Yeah. Tap off.
Piastri going into the gravel. They're both off. Off go the McLarens. Norris stays in the lead.
Now, Max.
Oscar, update on condition. Oscar, if you can get going, then hit.
Oscar Piastri could be out of his home Grand Prix.
Okay, mate, box. Put the box.
People on their slicks are struggling.
Hey, my pig! Gabriel Bortoletto into the wall.
Sorry, I crashed. My brake failed.
Okay. I mean, you're currently P7.
Lawson's now in the points, having started way down in 18th place.
Yeah, this is very win. You want to try and survive it?
Yes.
I know that I have this very brief moment to prove myself. It definitely feels like, that time is right now.
I'm on the wall, mate.
Can you pull away?
Yeah, but real win. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Unfortunately for Liam, he makes mistakes under pressure. It's quite simply not good enough.
Kimmy, so car hit Albon.
Copy.
Now I'm really feeling good with the car, and I'm realizing that anything is possible. And I just want to get more of this feeling.
And it's not over yet.
I have to go for it.
Gap ahead, 0.5. And you do have overtake available. Keep pushing. Yes, mate. Nice job.